sit back and relax. It's time for your daily dose of Big D Energy.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Big D Energy live on the Woodward Sports Network, Monday, March 11th, 2024. And on a day like today, with no Neil Rule or no Darren McCarty, I think a lot of you would agree, and I think I can say for myself, it is more average D Energy than anything. But you know what? This isn't the show that I necessarily wanted to do. Fair enough, KG. You know what?
I thought we did establish before the show that this is now average D Energy.
Yeah, but
or perfect D, because she calls it perfect.
Yes.
The big one's hurt.
The big one's hurt, and I, for one, have never hurt anyone in my life. But yes, the man to my right.
That's a nice show. We're out of here.
The man to my right is Sam Stick Day. My right tackle in the TD booth is Spencer Raxter, and my left tackle in the sound booth is KG. The usual suspects in there. We have a great show planned for you today, and with what's been going on in Detroit sports, this isn't necessarily the show that I want to do because there was a lot of bad that happened, but I think it's the show that I need to do, and I have some pillars of why I'm upset, 3 of them exactly, and we're going to get to them in 3 separate segments. But starting out, did you see what went on in free agency over the weekend? And more so when it came to free agency, it was players getting re-signed to their own teams. Chris Jones re-signed with the Kansas City Chiefs for 5 years, $158 million, $31 million AAV, and $60 million fully guaranteed. And do you know what I like about that signing for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Patrick Mahomes?
Well, sure. But obviously, Chris Jones is still one of the 2 best defensive tackles in the game, has many good years ahead of him, great years ahead of him, you would presume. But even if this doesn't work out for the Chiefs, he's already been the best defensive player on 3 Super Bowl teams. His legacy is set in Kansas City. If he retired today, he could walk right out of the NFL, and the first year he is eligible, go to the Hall of Fame. So congratulations to Chris Jones. Get your money. How are you guys feeling about that? Are the Kansas City Chiefs, are they a lock to a 3-peat now?
No. Come on, man. They aren't even locked to 2-peat right now.
They look like they was on the ropes last year. And look what happened.
I mean, listen, they can win it, but are they a lock? Is any team a lock in the NFL? No, not once ever. It's hard to win in the NFL. It's hard to 2-peat, and then it's exceptionally hard to 3-peat. I don't think it's ever been done in the Super Bowl era, has it, Sam?
3-peat? I don't believe so.
Yeah, so no, that's hard to do.
My goodness, you're
not
right.
Not even the Patriots.
They
back-to-back, not the 3-peat.
They only repeated once.
Exactly.
Actually.
So, yeah, I mean, are they a lock? I would say that's a long stretch just going off of the history of the NFL. But, I mean, I think they proved to themselves this year that defense wins championships, right?
Absolutely.
It used to be Mahomes is going to put up 40 points and then our defense is just going to hang out. Now it's, okay, we've graduated to let's take the stress off Mahomes. We got a good defense, and, yeah, they'll be fine. This is the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not too worried about the Chiefs. More worried about them Lions. And a happy birthday to Tammy Chin, by the way.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to Tammy Chin. I wish the Red Wings could have been playing better for you over the last 5 games, but we're going to get to that later. And also, we might touch on that as well. Also, one Justin Matabuke re-signed with the Baltimore Ravens on a 4-year, $98 million, $24 million AAV. KG and Spenny, I know that he's a guy that you both really, really wanted in Detroit. How are you guys feeling today about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. As defensive tackles are high-priced commodities, and especially when you can get pressure from that interior defensive line like Chris Jones and like Justin Matabuke do so well, you're going to get a bag. You're going to get paid. So we'll see if he was just a flash in the pan or if he's the real deal at defensive tackle. I like to think that he is the real deal. I like to think that he's a guy that'll go out there and make things happen year after year. But we're going to have to see. We'll see. And Baltimore has faith in him. They paid him a lot faster than they played Lamar Jackson, that's for sure.
That's for
big
sure.
Facts.
KG?
I mean, it would have been nice if we could have had him, but we all know that price tag would have been too high, and we already kind of figured he was going to get re-signed to his team. So good for him, man. Hopefully he can repeat upon that success, but I'm just really interested to see how the Lions are going to address this need in interior defensive line. So.
Yes, I am curious on that as well. And with Justin Madubuike, I want to just throw this out there, though. Because Justin Madubuike did kind of what Jalen Johnson did in Chicago. Had a really big-time contract year bump. Because in his first 3 seasons combined, he only had 8.5 sacks. And last season, he basically turned into his own Chris Jones in Baltimore and had 13. And I'm not saying that Justin Madubuike didn't have a fabulous year. And as a Lions fan, I would have taken him on this team in a heartbeat. But I think it's definitely a lot riskier to give a long-term contract to a guy like Justin Madubuike versus a Chris Jones, where you don't know if that's really who he is or if he just had a contract year bump. I suspect that he's going to be very, very good for him. But another thing about Justin Madubuike that maybe got a little bit slept on is he was a more average run defender than you would think. But he's certainly, congratulations to him. He was one of the most important pieces on the Ravens. So get your bag, Justin Madubuike. Unfortunately, that dream of him on the Lions is dead.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Oh, well.
I mean, and it's good for the Ravens, but it's not like they got it done last year either. So, I mean, the Ravens could go out and spend all the money they want. That's why I kind of like what the Lions are doing. I mean, I know a lot of these players are getting re-signed by their teams, but I like that the Lions are signing their core players.
That's fair. And speaking of core players...
There it is. Let's get to some Lions football, baby!
How can you say core player in the Detroit Lions without thinking of... Craig Reynolds, of course. Craig Reynolds.
Craig.
You know, hey,
Come on, Craig.
He's returning
Come on,
to the Detroit Lions. And for the record, he had a 100-yard game in 2021 when he was a starter. He had a touchdown in the fucking playoffs, which
greatest
is insane.
block of all time.
He did have the greatest block of all time.
Didn't he get an award for that in the NFL?
He won block of the year.
Block of the year, bitches.
No, and that's incredible because that was the game where was it Jahmyr Gibbs was out and David Montgomery went out, and that was the one game where the Lions' running attack didn't really do anything. But Craig Reynolds made one of the most impressive blocks I've ever seen.
And you can't forget the touchdown in the playoffs when he wasn't even supposed to be on the field.
That's weird. 4th and 1. Like, it's crazy.
Did you see that he wasn't even supposed to be on the field when Amon-Ra St. Brown was talking about? He's like, I turned around and Craig was out there. We knew he was running that damn ball.
Yeah.
And the cohesiveness is something you can't. Like, they can re-sign everybody on the offense because I think we can all agree they don't really need to spruce up this offense. If they get a T. Higgins or something like that, it's obviously gravy on top. But I don't think the Lions really need to go too wild addressing this offense. So solidify and then keep moving on. Sign your guys. You know Craig Reynolds is a positive locker room guy. You know he's going to lead the way with effort. You know he's going to be the consummate professional even when he's the 3rd running back on the depth chart. So those are the types of glue guys that you need for championship runs.
No, absolutely. And the Detroit Lions, they had a Super Bowl level offense last year.
Yeah.
If they had a better defense, they might have made it. If they didn't make a bunch of mistakes in the NFC Championship
Craig
game.
Reynolds, Josh Reynolds could catch a damn ball.
100%.
He's still looking for a contract.
Yeah, he should. I'll give him $5.
And that's Kendrick Bourne.
$5, and I'll pay it up front. Signing bonus.
Kendrick Bourne, a similar level player, just re-signed to the Patriots for $11 million a year.
You can't pay that. You can't pay that.
And Josh wants 8. From what I hear, he wants 8. So.
Yeah. I want 8. Am I going to get it? Hell no. Like, you can want a bunch, but if he catches those balls in the NFC Championship game, he's getting 12.
You don't think they value his connection and his chemistry with Goff to bring him back?
I think they do, but then I think you also got to see the warts this year. And, you know, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. What's the opposite of that? Sometimes players get pressured and it breaks them, and unfortunately it broke him in that game. And listen, I'm the biggest Lions slappy there is. I love what Reynolds did when he came here because it totally changed Jared Goff around mid-season when they were getting their ass beat up and down the field. So I appreciate what he brought, but we're to a stage as the Lions where I can appreciate you, but it's time to move on sometimes, and it's okay. We're part of being a successful team is knowing that some of these role guys are going to move on. Some of the stars are eventually going to move on because you can't pay them all. Like bringing back T. Higgins to this.
Yeah.
You think Cleveland or you think Cincinnati wants to let him go?
No.
Hell no. But they know they can't sign him and Jamar Chase, and he knows he's not getting the bag as long as Chase is there, and Chase isn't going anywhere. So it's going to come like that for the Lions too. So enjoy this time when we're still still operating on rookie deals.
Yeah, and Josh Reynolds, he's a guy that if I had my choice on a friendly deal, I would bring him back just because what he did at the beginning of the year when J-Mo was out, even what he did in the first playoff game. He's a reliable wide receiver, but as you said, he catches that one pass when they're up 24-10 on fourth down. The Lions are in the Super Bowl, and he didn't do it. He failed on the big during the biggest moment for him. So if you don't want to bring him back, I can't even blame you for that. Speaking of disappointments, I want to touch on this really, really quick before we talk about another Lions player who is being brought back, one even more exciting than Craig Reynolds. The Michigan State Spartans basketball. How are you feeling about the way they ended the season, Spencer, and the fact that they had 4 top players returning plus the top recruiting class in the Big Ten, and they were 500 in Big Ten play?
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It was a failure of a season. I mean, obviously, anything can happen in the tournament, and if you go through the tournament and do great things, nobody gives a shit about the regular season, but I don't see that happening much. Yeah. Malik Hall was our best player all year, and if you would have told me that going into this year, I would have said they're going to be a top 5 team in the country. But when you look at how bad A.J. Hoggard was this year, Tyson Walker didn't really take the next step from what he was last year, and the freshmen don't get playing time. Yeah, and I'm looking at Izzo. I'm looking at Izzo on that.
Is he washed to you? Or
I think I wouldn't say he's washed, but his old school mentality needs to change. He needs to address
but his
playing
son
freshmen.
Played for you guys this year.
He got a bucket too.
He scored a basket.
That was the highlight of the season.
Oh my God! That's how far Michigan State's basketball has fallen. Like, you're rooting for a basket for a kid who couldn't even be on the team if his dad wasn't the coach. Like, this is literally middle America high school like storylines.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
It was bad, and you look at Izzo. He needs to change his mentality if he wants to make another run at another championship. He needs to attack the transfer portal, and he needs to play freshmen. Because Cohen Carr and Xavier Booker are 2 of the top 5 players on this team, and they need to be playing more than 10 minutes a game.
Well, yeah, me and Maz got into it, I believe it was like 2 years ago. I think it was in Illinois. Izzo grabbed a kid's arm while he was walking off the court to the locker room, and I was like,
"That A.J. Hoggard." Yeah. Is it the A.J. Hoggard or Gabe Hall?
One of those guys. I don't remember who it was because I don't follow it that closely. It just the optics of it. And I told Maz, I'm like, it's over for Izzo. That's not how you coach these kids nowadays. These are AAU kids that have been coddled their whole damn life. Yeah. They've never been gripped up by a coach, let alone an old coach who is still living off his laurels from 20 years ago, hasn't really done much lately, doesn't really go into the NIL, doesn't really mess with the transfer portal, still trying to do it the old-fashioned way. And it's like, it's
dying out.
He was great. Yeah, he was great for his time. Yep. But unless you adapt, you die. And that's with anything in life. And you're just seeing it just slowly get to here. Because he's not, even though he wants to do it the old-fashioned way, he's not keeping guys around for 4 years. They're not developing like that. And he's not getting the top guys even in the state anymore.
Well, and Tammy Chin, she points this out, of course. Spartans played better than Michigan. Oh, I know. We're going to get to Michigan later, that bitch-ass program.
Both y'all are trash, and so's my old school UAD. Yes. We won one damn game. Yep. But I'm not going to sit up here and tell you how great they are. It's okay. It's okay to admit when your school's trash. Yes. It really is. No.
And we'll definitely get there. My point, Spenny, is that the reason why I feel like I can at least bring that up and not get laughed out of the room, I'm going to give you a quick comparison. I personally believe that if the Michigan State football program went 8-5, but Michigan had 2 losses, you could say that State's season was a success and Michigan's was a failure. Am I out of line? And if I think in the basketball season, if Michigan would have made the tournament and maybe got bounced in round 1 and Michigan State had the exact same result, Michigan's season would have been a success, but Michigan State's would have been a failure because you're bringing back Hoggard, Jaden Akins, Malik Hall, and Tyson Walker. You're bringing in the best recruiting class in the Big Ten. You were preseason ranked number 4. So by expectations, I can at least point out that it was a failure of a regular season. However, the nature of college basketball is that one big tournament run and everything gets forgotten.
Izzo can shut me up tomorrow. Absolutely. By the end of March, Izzo could shut my mouth and teach me a lesson, and I hope he does. I root for Michigan State. One of the best memories of my life is when Mateen Cleaves and company won the national championship. We drove from UAD to East Lansing with a pocket full of stuff to sell out there, and we had a great time in Cedar Village, burning couches, having fun, house parties. the state is better when our colleges are doing well.
Yep.
And I don't care if it's Michigan, Michigan State, Ferris State, Central, Western, Eastern, UAD, if they ever get back in the tournament, which they haven't been in forever.
Yeah.
But like Oakland, when Oakland's in the tournament, it's fun as
They're
hell.
probably
So
going to be in the tournament
Shout
this year.
out.
I root for all these guys, but right now it sucks, man. So come on, Izzo, get it together. Prove me wrong.
Like I love Izzo. You know, I've spoken to Izzo multiple times. He's a very nice guy. He's just a legend, the best coach in Big Ten history, the best coach in school history by far. But it might be time for him to hang it up. And Drew Valentine's waiting in the wings.
Hey.
He's waiting. He's waiting for Izzo to pass the torch to him because he is the heir apparent.
Yes, that is the name that I've been hearing around. And Mike G, before I go to break, Michigan plays basketball. I wish they didn't. Chrysler is just for women's gymnastics. No said. That's fair. That's fair. I wouldn't get paid to go to Chrysler Center right now, unfortunately. But do you know where you can't get paid to do this? You have to give a little money, but you're going to feel good afterwards? You go to Dispo Dispensary. Visit Dispo Dispensary today because March Madness is officially here. Michigan ain't want to be there. Dispo is giving away $1,000 to the best bracket at each location. Battle Creek, Romeo, Whitmore Lake, Hazel Park, Bay City North and South, and Ann Arbor. Go get your blank brackets now, fill them out, and return them by St. Patty's Day on March 17th to secure your entry for a chance at that $1,000. Dispo Dispensary, disposhops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Buying your first Feldman Chevrolet is much more than buying the car that will get you from point A to point B. It's a place for first memories, some big, some small. As she grows, you're not just buying her a Chevy, you're buying into a Feldman family. With more than 700,000 vehicles sold, from generation to generation, Feldman just keeps rolling.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports. Every year, after a cold and dreary winter, Metro Detroiters come together for two things: Tigers baseball and the best damned party in the world. A new season of Tigers baseball is here, and we're bringing in the new season as only Woodward Sports knows how. Broadcasting live from the biggest party. It's the Grand Slam Festival at the Detroit Opera House. Come party with 4,000 Detroit sports fans, starting with Wake Up Woodward and rolling into Big D Energy. This is a party you don't want to miss, with Detroit's best DJs, food trucks, and of course, shots. Get your tickets now at GrandSlamFest.com. 21 plus. See you April 5th at the Grand Slam Fest.
Yeah, you know what time it is. It's time for the bracket challenge. You want your shot at $50,000. Just scan that QR code right now. We're giving you $50K, a shot at it. All you got to do, fill out your bracket. Brought to you by Glorious Cannabis, Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza. And you can register for your chance to win at any Lady Jane's or Soroki's. Or, like I said, click that QR code now. Time to start registering for that bracket. And then as soon as Selection Sunday comes out, boom. You fill it out, $50K could be yours.
Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. And Ransom, it's almost if he knows what we're going to talk about. Sounds like the Lions are signing Graham Glasgow to a 3-year, $20 million contract. And we definitely have to react to that because, in my personal opinion, it was very important that they re-signed him. And I'm glad that they got the deal done. He had a great season last year, and what is it? It's $6.5 million AAV, if I'm doing the math correctly, or close to it. A little under $6.5 million, which I think is a friendly deal for Graham Glasgow personally, especially what you would have to give Jonah Jackson if you were signed him to a long-term deal. But I want to go around the room with this one. Stick, how are you feeling about Graham Glasgow being re-signed, and how important is he to the future success of this team?
I just clap my hands, man.
Beautiful.
We're about the business. That's what it's about. What's the strength of this team?
O-line.
What's been the benchmark of this team? O-line. What's been what they built around this entire team?
O-line.
What's Jared Goff best at when he's protected?
By the O-line.
Play action pass too. They are the key to everything that is great about the Detroit Lions on offense.
Facts.
You could take all your skill players. You could take all the speed you want. It doesn't matter if people are pressuring the quarterback. You could take a great running back like Saquon Barkley. It doesn't matter if you don't have a line to block for him. And we've seen it with a line. It don't matter if Craig Reynolds is running the ball. You can get a 100-yard rusher, which how many years the Lions go without a 100-yard rusher?
I think 4.
Reggie
like
Bush was the last one before we
Yeah.
broke that barrier a couple years ago. So now Craig Reynolds is doing it. So this is what I love about Brad Holmes. This is what I loved about the Penei Sewell pick when they took that. They established an identity, and it's a Dan Campbell identity. We're going to punch you in your mouth, and we're going to keep punching you in your mouth. And in fourth quarter, guess what? You've been punched in your mouth so many times by these big-ass goons that we call linemen that you break and you wilt, and that's what these guys do. And you need parts like this to continue that. You need somebody that can play the guard and the tackle position. Maybe slide over to center sometimes when you need him when Ragnow's hurt, even though Ragnow is a beast. He's an interchangeable part of this great offensive line, and you just keep this train going, and everything else will take care of itself.
I could not agree more about that. Very well said. Graham Glasgow was I mean, I'm trying to think of a word that's better than important, but especially with what happened with the injury to Vaitai, if they didn't have Graham Glasgow, especially given the fact that Jonah Jackson also missed 5 games, this offensive line could have looked very, very different. Spenny, your twin, how are you feeling about the Graham Glasgow signing?
I'm extremely happy for it, and like I said, I had this information because we do share the same father, obviously. So I had this information, but I couldn't let it get out because he told me to keep it on wraps until it was official.
Right.
Even though he let Shefty break it. Like, come on,
That's
brother.
crazy.
What are we doing? But no, this was my number one priority for the Lions on guys they need to bring back was Graham Glasgow. And Stick talked to it, the versatility he has on that offensive line of where he can play any interior offensive line spot, whether it be right guard, left guard, or center, is extremely, extremely valuable, especially like we love Frank, but he's only got 3 toes, so he might need a game off here or there. And when you have a guy like Graham Glasgow who can slide over and has fantastic chemistry with Taylor Decker, he formed great chemistry with Penei Sewell. Like Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnar are 2 of his best friends. They all came into this team, into this city around the same time, dealt with the hardships, and now are reaping the glory of a great franchise. So I'm excited to see what he can do, and I'm really glad they got the deal done.
Yes, and this is something you just need to run back, like we talked about earlier. The offense was good last year, like historically good in some areas. So, I mean, you're getting Ben Johnson back. You know that. The cohesiveness is going to be there. These guys are spending another year understanding blocking assignments. I mean, when you get a crew like this and you get that unity, that's why I was so disappointed they let this opportunity slip away from them this year about getting to the Super Bowl because it's hard to capture lightning in a bottle like that. It's hard to keep culture going when you get so close and don't get through. We've seen it with so many teams. Like, look at the Buffalo Bills. They're mortgaging everybody now. That whole crew's out of there, and they had their window. And I don't want that window to close on these guys. So what Brad Holmes is doing right now, extending the window a little bit with extending his strength. Because, damn, man, it felt like they were such a good team last year. Everybody got along. The locker room was good. The mission was good. And they just couldn't get it done in that second half.
Yeah, unfortunately. But it was still a wildly successful season.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, of course.
Amazing season.
And I was very disappointed in that NFC Championship game loss as well. But one of the guys that can help you get back is Graham Glasgow. And Hoof Hearted brings up a great point, which I think we all agree with and has been touched on briefly even in this segment. Glasgow was a required re-sign because he's the backup center, and Ragnow is a bit of a question mark from here moving forward. And that's 100% fair. And Terrell from FL, the word you're looking for is indispensable when I couldn't find the word that was better than important. But yes, I would agree.
Shout out to Terrell. Me and Terrell had some words one time on a post-game show, and I called him a bitch, and he's back, and he's not a bitch. Me and Terrell have talked since then. He's a great fan,
man.
and we appreciate everything he brings to the network. So respect to you, Terrell.
Yeah,
He set me off about Jared Goff. Oh my God! It was right when that peak when Goff had like a couple good weeks, and then all of a sudden he had a couple bad weeks, and everybody everybody went from God to bum, and it's like, oh, come on.
That's how it goes in this town.
Yeah.
No, I like Terrell in the chat. I think he makes a lot of good points.
Cool.
And whenever he calls, he's one of our better callers. But KG, I got to go to you as well. How are you feeling about the Graham Glasgow re-signing, and how important is he going to be to this team moving forward?
I mean, I'm happy about it. It was expected, at least from my point of view. It's just where the league's going, man. Your guards need to be versatile. You need to be able to play center. You need to be able to fill in at the other guard spot if need be. And that's strictly what they signed him for, is off the versatility. I think that pretty much answers whether they'll re-sign Jonah Jackson going forward. And this also, I think, opens the door for a guard to be picked in the draft. So, but I like the signing. Graham deserves it, man. I'm glad he's here, and let's keep this train rolling.
Absolutely. Graham Glasgow on one side and Cooper Beebe on the other.
knows?
Who says no? Who says no?
knows?
But here's the reality, too, when it comes to the Detroit Lions. I don't think Jonah Jackson is an important re-sign at all, and I'll tell you why. Because by the numbers last season, Jonah Jackson was your worst offensive lineman who started. And he was also your least durable. He missed 5 games. Graham Glasgow was your best and most durable guard last year, and he, when asked to play center, he did it, at least at a fill-in level way. I don't want him to play center moving forward. I'd rather have him play guard, but still, he is capable of playing center. And Frank Ragnow, if you're counting on him to play all 17 games next year, I have got a bridge to sell you somewhere. I'd like to see it happen, but Graham Glasgow is most certainly one of the most important signings on this team. He was a top 10 rated PFF guard last year, and he wasn't even supposed to be the starter. I know that counting on Vaitai was another thing. I got a bridge to sell you. And they didn't, and the Lions, to their credit, they didn't do it. Graham Glasgow, to me, he was every bit as important of a free agent signing as David Montgomery was. And David Montgomery was fantastic for this team. But if they did not sign Graham Glasgow, if they would have gone after some replacement level guard or not even filled the position, this team, I don't know if they even make the playoffs.
What do you think about the price tag on this, though? Do you think it's a good price tag?
Yeah. $6 million a year, roughly. Yeah,
I'm good with that for
right
sure.
on par.
You're good with that?
Yeah.
What would you have to pay Jonah?
Probably 9, 10, around there.
Maybe
we
more.
gonna see.
Maybe more.
Selfishly, I want Jonah to get re-signed because me and Easy then can beat Graham Glasgow and Jonah Jackson for Halloween. It should be awesome. But I don't think it's gonna happen. And I've said multiple times, you move on from Jonah, you re-sign Graham, you draft a guard or an interior offensive lineman to fill Jonah's spot.
Yes, and Brandon Katz. Jackson was mediocre in pass protection, but he was very good as a run blocker. He basically said like that I'm at a clown take or everything. And here's the thing.
You guys let this Katz guy get in your head, man.
Katz has every right to Katz has every right to comment on the show, and I actually want to clarify something. I'm not saying Jonah Jackson was bad. Jonah Jackson was a very good run blocker. It's just this was an elite offensive line, and Jonah Jackson is somebody that you would have to pay to a long-term deal after just having him on a third-round rookie contract for all of those years, and he was the worst offensive lineman on the team last year as a starter. The worst of a great group, but still the worst. Yeah. And Graham Glasgow at a little over $6 million a year, I would take that any day of the week over Jonah Jackson at 9, 10, or even 11, 12. That's not even a question to me, and this offensive line is going to be good again. And I think it's something that they're also going to address in the draft. Like I said, give me Graham Glasgow on one side and Cooper Beebe on another and inject that right into these veins. Right into these veins. Because this offensive line is even going to be better next year. Because I'll tell you what, as a rookie, I would take what either Jackson Powers Johnson, who is a pipe dream, by the way, or what Cooper Beebe will do as a rookie over anything that Jonah Jackson did in his entire career.
The Jets just re-signed Greg Zuerlein, the kicker, for $8.4 million for 2 years.
Greg the leg, right?
Good Lord.
$4 million a year. That's not too bad.
Would you pay that for a good kicker?
For a good one, yes.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I'd pay that for maybe like Harrison Butker or Justin Tucker or something like that.
Yeah.
Tucker, you're paying 10, man. Tucker, that guy.
Hey, but you know what else? What else is not really that guy, but that company, that sponsor, Guardian Alarm. If you really need some defense, let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Love Woodward Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
The new glorious ice water bubble hash pre-roll now with diamonds, constantly pushing to create the best canna experience. The perfect boost comes from the added touch of pure THC diamond dust, allowing flower with only the highest terps, making the best better. Glorious Cannabis, check us out at our local retailer or gloriouscanna.com.
Michael Pittman just got re-signed.
Yeah,
Michael
Pittman,
Pittman.
3 years.
Yeah.
Hey, gives Anthony Richardson a nice target. Hopefully he has the season healthy. And that AFC South, if you get a healthy season of Anthony Richardson, it might be a lot better than it's been in recent seasons.
Jonathan Taylor, bigger piece of the puzzle there.
I mean,
I don't know. Yeah.
No, you guys don't have to know, but y'all gonna learn.
and you know what? If Anthony Richardson keeps taking hits like that, he'll be playing 5 to 7 games a year for the rest of his career.
Listen,
Taylor last year, and he
Maz-
did a pretty damn good job.
Maz thought Anthony Richardson was going to be a good quarterback, so you know it's not possible.
Yeah.
He looks good, though.
He looked good when he was healthy, though.
Yeah, well, okay. Well,
All right.
best ability is availability.
That's true.
And you know what? That
if
is
you ain't on the field, I don't care how talented you are.
And you know what? You checkmated us with that one because Anthony Richardson was not available last year. At least, you had Gardner Minshew starting games.
Oh!
And that's not what you want.
Love Gardner Minshew,
Of
man.
course you do.
Yeah.
He's mid. But, anywho.
He's Gardner Minshew, though. I'm not expecting him to be a world beat. He's entertaining.
Also fair.
Uncle
but,
Rico.
Yeah.
Do you-
Baker Mayfield re-signed over the weekend,
Yeah.
didn't he, too?
Yeah, man.
He got paid.
Well, do you know who is neither entertaining nor good? Troy Weaver and the Detroit Pistons. And did you guys see what happened over the weekend with a fan?
I got the video.
You got the video. Go ahead and play it, Spemo Rax.
He said, "You're lucky I don't beat your ass."
Ooh.
Cool. I know Stick gonna have a field day. With
I
this one.
actually have. I'm really curious to go to you first, Stick. I was going to go first, but Stick,
He go.
give me your thoughts on the Pistons as a whole in this video. Just go right ahead. Let it fly.
Troy Weaver got his ass exposed. That's what I feel about that
Exposed?
video. Yep. If you can let a fan crack you, imagine what that dude's like in the war room when real pressure's on draft
Come
night.
on.
I'm sorry,
This
man.
is after-
If you're a leader, you do not care what an underling says to you. You do not let that get under your skin. And if you're that afraid to take criticism, you do not sit in the lower bowl. Sit your ass up in a suite, away from everybody, if you have those types of rabbit ears. Now, I understand the kid came back 3 times. I'm not condoning that dude's behavior. But what I'm saying is you got to be above that if you're Troy Weaver. We experience it here at Woodward Sports when we're out doing live broadcasts. There's always the one drunk guy, wants to razz you, wants to yell about other people and other networks in town. Well, and I've been in media my whole life since I was 19 years old, starting in radio with 93.1 DRQ, then Channel 955. You don't think I had people show up at club nights talking shit to me, doing all this? And what do? You pat them on the back, you buy them a drink, and you make a friend. You don't do what Troy Weaver did. Imagine the PR that would have been had for Troy Weaver had he been like, you know what? I'm not happy with this right now either. I'm working towards it, but come here, buddy. Let me buy you a beer. Sit down. Let's talk about this during the game. That's what a leader does, right? That's somebody who's setting the tone for your entire organization.
It's easy to say when it's not you in that situation.
I've been in that situation, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, I haven't been in the situation where I'm a GM of a basketball team, but we are all public figures, essentially, right? We've all been in public with people that disagree with our takes. People want to call Flannel Sam whatever they want when, you know, when they disagree with him in the chat. And you don't do that. Like, I just don't understand how Troy Weaver could do that. And when I saw that, I have a lot of respect for Troy Weaver. I wanted what he was bringing here to succeed. I loved what they did in Toronto, building that whole farm system there with the G League team. I love what they did here, bringing the crews to Detroit. It was going to be a cohesive unit to feed and bring, you know, two-way contracts. Like, it was all good. But to me, that just signified the beginning of the end. Like, that's the beginning of the end, because now the fans don't respect you. And now you think you got it from one fan and that's bad? Everybody knows now you got rabbit ears. So what do you think's going to happen next time he's out? Like, he just exposed himself that he's susceptible to being chirped.
You know what, Stick? I could not agree with you more. And here's what this did for me, at least. I think the Pistons have gotten off easy, even at this network. I really, really do. Even when they had that game where they beat the Brooklyn Nets and Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey played that game where they played really, really well together, I was giving them a lot of praise, but then you realize that's their 10th win versus 52 losses. And for the record, I am fully of the belief, I got a lot of information from our inside man Kool-Aid, who I have a lot of respect for and think does a great job. And I think we are all in agreement with this. It's not, the problem isn't just Troy Weaver. The problem is also there are too many cooks in the kitchen. I want Tom Gores punted to the moon. I want the Tellums punted to the moon. But I also want Troy Weaver punted to the moon, because what has happened under his GM-ship with the Detroit Pistons, I don't think that's a word, but still, and everything that goes into it has been an abject disaster. His record as a GM is 70-229. It's very likely this season that they set the franchise record for losses in a season. They'd have to finish 5-14. Are they even going to finish 5-14?
Yeah.
If you think that if you think for real that they're going to finish over 5-14, that's not a bet I would personally be willing to take. So I think it's very likely for it to happen. He is extremely likely to have a 4-season stretch in which he averages less than 20 wins per season. The Pistons as a whole have had one winning season in the last 16, 3 playoff appearances in the last 16 in a sport where
One winning season in 16?
Yes, and 3 playoff appearances in 16 years in a sport where more than half the teams make the playoffs. I know a lot of that wasn't Troy Weaver's fault, but that's the thing. This is such a dumpster fire that, like, words can't even be used to explain it. And now here's where I go to one of my pillars that I teased earlier on. And KG, I gotta call out my other show. Okay. I do. There was a lot of Troy botting going on today.
I would say
yes,
that.
Yes.
No, Kool-Aid.
No.
What did I first say when I walked in the studio this morning? I said, quit being so soft on Troy Weaver.
It's not being soft. To me, you guys aren't wrong, but there's 2 different issues here. This is a human decency issue. This is not about the team. We understand how bad the team is, but if somebody is heckling you more than once, and they've been warned to stop more than once, how do you think that's okay?
Then you handle it. Then if you want to snipe the guy and get him out of, you call security to the side, say, hey, that guy over there is being a pain.
And that's what he did. He didn't put his hands
stood
on
up
him.
and said, I should beat your ass. That's not the same thing as handling it like
to defend himself.
There was a fence between them. What do you mean defend himself? All he had to do, he runs that whole damn building. You don't think he could have been like, walked up, hey, security, there's a guy down there in a Red Wings jersey, been a little unruly, and you know what? We don't have to kick him out. Let's put him in a different section, or like get him the hell out of here. But to stand up, you know this is a social media being of time, right?
We know that Troy hears everything that we're saying, the media, everybody, the fans. You know he hears this on an everyday basis. Good. He gave the guy 2 other chances to, hey, chill out. Okay, you got your point off. Chill out. After the 3rd time, he had a right to say that. Now, as long as
he had a right to say, I'm gonna beat your ass.
Well, look,
come on, man. The guy's a millionaire. He beats his ass. He's paying out the ass.
I understand. Is it unprofessional? Yes, but After a certain point, you're only human. And to me, as long as he didn't put his
You're
hands on the
paid
guy,
not to be. You're paid not to be.
I understand.
Like, it's the same thing as hecklers. Like, every NBA player gets heckled
That's
on the
true,
court.
and I'm not
do
saying-
they run to the stands and say, I'm going to beat your ass? Some of them.
Yeah,
like,
but
Russ Wilson may do it, and
are you gonna
LeBron
keep
cries all the
heckling-
fucking time.
Are you going to keep heckling the same guy and expecting something magical to happen? What do you expect to happen? Okay, you told him the team sucks 3 times while he's in the seat. He can't change it right at this moment. Like,
I'm with the fan. He does suck at his job.
Yeah.
He
Yes,
deserves to be
fans are
heckled.
wrong. But
Troy Weaver has been dog shit at his
these-
job since he got here.
That's
He hasn't
true.
made a single signing or trade in free agency that has benefited this team at all. He deserves to be told to his face, hey, you suck at your job,
And
man.
that's
Do
fine.
something and change it.
That's
and if
fine.
he can't take it, you know why he gets emotional and says, I'm going to beat your ass? Because he knows he sucks at his job.
Right.
He knows it's true.
And that's my point, Spenny. Like, instead, my uncle, very smart man, he said, you know, you cannot cool down a hot pipe with another hot pipe. So in Troy Weaver's case, he's paid millions of dollars to not only get the team in place, but to represent the team on and off the court, right?
Yes.
So he's got to be the cool pipe. He can't be the hot pipe ever. Because
when-
now look at what we're talking
You
about. Look
say-
at what everybody talked about all weekend long. Look how many views we got on
I
that post.
understand. You're saying he's the hot pipe. When have we ever seen this from Troy Weaver? Ever?
It doesn't matter. This is what people will remember.
Like,
though.
I can see
you
if
get
he had a
one
history
shot
of
at this.
This is not like a James Dolan situation. He doesn't just kick fans out but off the littlest thing. Like, this was a buildup. And like I'm saying, like, this is 2 separate issues. Yes, the Pistons suck. We all know that. But if you're a fan and you're gonna come just to heckle, why even buy a ticket? Like, I understand, but you're coming to a 10-win team.
There's no other reason to buy a ticket. You buy tickets to start to sell the team chance. You buy the tickets
And
to
they've
start
done that.
Troy Weaver sucks chance.
And they've
because
done
they
that.
do. Because they do. Because he does suck. And he needs to be told that. Because if Arm Tellem and Tom Goris are sipping a fucking Mai Tai and Cabo not doing shit because he doesn't give a shit about this team, it's the fans' jobs to tell him, hey, you fucking suck at your
And
job,
that's
buddy.
fine. But after 3 times, you can chill out. Bro.
And
Like,
insults
you got your
only
point
hurt
off.
you if they're actually about you. Like, you can say whatever the hell you want about me, but if I know it's not true, it doesn't bother me. But I think that's what hurt him. And Terry, I thought Terry brought up a great point. Troy Weaver should be happy that the fans aren't so apathetic that they just walk through this and be like, there's Troy Weaver. He should be happy that there's still passion in this city for this team to tell him, I want better. I demand better. I paid money today to see better.
Then you should know what to expect. You're buying tickets to a 10-win team.
He
And
should
I'm
know
not
what
saying-
to expect if he shows up and the fans are there.
that's what I'm
Because he
saying.
sucks
Don't
at his
sit
job.
lower.
And like
Bull.
I said, all of
Don't
that is
sit lower
fine.
bull.
But after you keep doing it, okay, you got your point off. I done told you twice, that's fine, bro. But after 3 times and you expect to not get kicked out,
It's
like,
not
that's
him to be a
ridiculous.
minute. You can, like Six said, you can kick him out. You don't say, I should beat your ass.
Right.
You're the GM of the Detroit Pistons.
okay,
And you're
yes.
telling that to a fan?
And
That's a clown move.
I agree with that. It's unprofessional, but at the same time, I can reason with somebody reacting humanly. Like, that's a human
But
reaction.
it's Troy's job to be the adult in the room, not the fan's job.
Listen, I understand if you suck at your job, if you suck making burgers, is it okay for people to just walk in the kitchen and be like, hey, you suck more than 2 or 3
but
times?
But if I suck at making burgers and I walk up to a customer and said, I'm going to beat your ass, I get fired.
Right.
That's what happens.
And let's be honest, there's a saying the customer's always right, correct?
And that's garbage, but yes, it is a saying.
And that's good business, though, right? I screwed up your burger, or I even made your burger the way you asked, but you forgot that you didn't like pickles. You know what? That's on us. Here's your new burger without pickles. And
how
then,
many times I've had to do that in my life, man?
right, and you don't fight with them because what do you get out of it? Like, what did Troy Weaver expect to gain out of this confrontation?
He
what I'm
always
telling
sits
you,
in that area. From what I've been told, he always sits in that area.
Good.
I'm sure he's been heckled more than just this one incident. You've never seen him react like
and
this.
that's the point, because we live in a videotape society. It just takes one fuck up, man. And now this is what Troy Weaver's legacy is for the moment. We live in a 24-hour news cycle. It may go away, but he had an opportunity to be the better man, and he chose not to be.
Well, and this is why I love that this video happened, because I still see it in the chat. I still see Troy botting from Chad and Cody Ingle, for the record. There's a lot of Troy botting going on my other show, Wake Up Woodward. There's some Troy botting going on this show sometimes. For the record, and this is not me being a dick, Kool-Aid and Neil Rule are compromised, and I don't blame them for being compromised. Kool-Aid is an excellent beat reporter.
I don't think Kool-Aid's compromised.
I think
Kool-Aid's just more of a humanitarian.
And
like
that's fine.
And that's what KG's doing. He's looking at it as a human issue, but I'm looking at it as a positional issue.
People need to realize I'm not defending the Pistons. I've been critical on these airways of Troy Weaver and some of the moves he's made. To me, like I said, this is two separate issues. Yes, the team sucks, but also that just because you buy a ticket doesn't give you the right to just do whatever the hell you want.
It kind of does.
Especially after you've been warned, though. You've been warned. So it's not like this was the first incident.
Well, and for the record, just so Kool-Aid doesn't take it the wrong way, compromise might have been a little bit tough. He sees things differently because he's there every single day. He was the one that was adamant and alerted to me that it wasn't just Troy Weaver. I now accept that it wasn't his pick in Killian Hayes, and I now accept that it wasn't necessarily his choice to hire Monty Williams. It was Tom Gorris's, and those two were very, very important decisions that the organization got wrong. My point is that on Wake Up Woodward, I feel like Kool-Aid is always going to see things from a little bit more of a positive lens.
He is a positive guy.
Well, yes, and Neil Rule, he does broadcasting gigs for them, and he should be the broadcaster of the Pistons. With all due respect to Mark Champion, I like him a lot, but Neil Rule is damn good at what he does. Yeah. But a lot of criticism of the Pistons is met with from like a Neil Rule, like they're one of the best franchises in NBA history. I don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm.
I do.
Three playoff appearances in the last 16 years. You know who else are some of the best franchises in sports history? The Dallas Cowboys, the Washington formerly Redskins, now Commanders, the Oakland Raiders, the Cincinnati Reds, and the Oakland A's. And we have no problem with just crapping all over them. And you know what? Before we go to break, I want to get to one of my pillars, because this is a little bit of a selfish endeavor, but damn it, I'm going to get to it. You know what one of my frustrations is? And this is actually aimed at my brother Kool-Aid. And I hate going at him because it's like going at my priest. Because I love Kool-Aid. And you know I would say this on the show to him because I've literally gotten into heated arguments with every single person on this show. That's and facts. Broder and Kool-Aid.
That's facts.
It's true.
I really
stands on business.
I really despise when people just say things just to say it and it's easily verifiable that it's false. I hate when this rebuild gets compared to the Bad Boy Pistons one. It makes me want to vomit, with all due respect to Kool-Aid. 4 seasons. This is going to be his 4th season of 23 wins or less. This one's probably going to be in the teens, more than likely be in the teens. You know how the Pistons rebuild went in the Bad Boys days? 1979, Trader Jack takes over. They have a 16-win season in 1979 and a 21 season in 1980. In the 1981 NBA draft, they draft Isaiah Thomas and Kelly Tripucka, and during the season, they acquire Vinnie Johnson and Bill Laimbeer. That's a hell of a haul, by the way. Yes, and then that season, they win 39 games in year 3. Troy won 17. And 37 wins in year 4. Troy's probably going to win less than 16, by the way. In the 5th season, the Pistons win 49 games. They make the playoffs. In the 6th season, they win 46 games, win a playoff series. In 1985, they draft Joe Dumars. In 1986, they draft Dennis Rodman. And then they acquire guys like Adrian Dantley, who was then traded for Mark Aguirre. These are not the same. Do you think the Detroit Pistons are making the playoffs next year? Hell no. There are levels. They have been the worst franchise in sports over the last 5 years, 4 of them under the stewardship of Troy Weaver. It's not that hard to find. These are not the same. Sorry, Kool-Aid, I love you, man, but these are not even close to the same. Don't ever say that this is the same as similar to the Bad Boys rebuild. He even said that this rebuild was ahead of schedule.
Oh.
Man, I wish I would have been on this show this morning because it would have been explosive. But that shit just drives me crazy, man.
He did get the salary cap under control.
That's fine. Ooh. And I understand also, Cody Ingle, that it's not all his fault. I know Tom Gorris is a terrible owner.
Worst owner in basketball.
100%. But the reality is there should be no Troy bots. There should be no Pistons bots. This is the worst franchise in NBA right now. Mm-hmm. They're going to go on a 5-year stretch, 4 of them under Troy Weaver, in which they win less than 100 games total. Fuck the Pistons, man. I'm so sick of this bullshit.
Hey, I don't know about all that. though.
Hell yeah.
Okay, and
Fuck
then when
Troy Weaver.
and if they start winning, then you better stay on business, Sam.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Oh, come on. You can't say fuck the whole team and then become a fan. You just can't.
I can when they're going to set the franchise record for losses in a season after winning 17 the year before. I don't care that he's a good talent evaluator, that he's made good draft picks. What has it gotten you?
He's really only made 2, maybe 3 great draft picks in his tenure.
Well, listen,
I don't
he had
count
the
Kate
number
Cunningham
1
as a
overall
Weaver.
pick.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
But Duran
and Ivy, those are good picks, and Marcus Sasser.
Sasser is an okay pick.
Ivy was
he's
kind of
a
the-
serviceable pick.
Yeah, for where it was.
Yeah.
Ivy was kind of the obvious pick there too.
Yeah.
At pick 5.
All right. Tell us about Big Boy Stick.
Oh, big boy.
Yeah.
Put on your big boy pants. Unlike Troy Weaver threatening fans. You can go to Big Boy and get that seafood fest. Put that shrimp in your mouth. It's so delicious. SS Big Boy Seafood Fest is here. Every day is a fish fry at Big Boy. There's one near you. Just go online right now and search Big Boy.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
It is Merch Monday right here at Woodward Sports. We're giving away a brand new shirt, a brand new design that we put up today. It's the LFGRW. You know, so let's go Red Wings, but with a little Woodward Sports twist too. So go on Twitter right now and follow the instructions, Instagram as well, and you can win that shirt. Or if you just want to go buy it, go to woodwardsports.com right now /shop. We also got a new Brad Holmes t-shirt up there and hoodie. And then we were thinking about putting up a shirt today that says you suck at your job. You guys think we should put that one up for Troy Weaver?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Check that out later. woodwardsports.com /shop. Merch Monday. Every Monday, releasing a new look.
Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam. The man to my right is Sam Stick Day. The man in the TD booth is Spencer Raxter. And the man in the sound booth is, I have some breaking news while we're on the show. The man in the sound booth is KG. And it's funny that the merch read highlighted the new Red Wings apparel because
no patch on that one.
We have to talk about them.
I did get an update on Twitter that the Mosley contract details came out and it was only 1 year, $2.2 million.
Oh,
I like
that's
it.
a steal.
So yeah,
That's a steal.
I like it.
I don't know about a steal.
Well, not a steal, but it's a good deal.
That's a good deal for sure.
No, that's a fair deal.
Just to talk about free agency, Field Yates put this out this morning. Teams can begin engaging with agents at noon today. Deals can be agreed to but not finalized. No deal can become official till after 4 p.m. on Wednesday. Teams cannot speak to players who represent themselves without an agent until Wednesday at 4 p.m. So that's a little caveat, as D-Mac would say. And jersey swaps are allowed on this app, but player can change their mind. No swaps are official until Wednesday at 4 p.m. So there you go. Just some updates.
It's going to be an explosive week. But, you know, LGFRW, the way that the Red Wings have been playing over the last 5 games, there should be a "the" after the F. See what I just did there? But anywho, the Detroit Red Wings, they're on a 5-game losing streak, highlighted by weekend losses to Buffalo on Friday and Vegas or Phoenix, my bad, Phoenix on Friday and Vegas on Saturday. And the question that was asked, and I'll go to Spencer Raxter for this one just to get his take first. Red Wings lose 5 in a row, and that wild card lead over the New York Islanders has just evaporated like that. Mm-hmm. Is it panic time?
It is. It is time to panic a little bit. You need to worry about it. I think losing 4-0 to the Coyotes was when I was like, okay, it's time to hit the panic button. You need to get some points here. You playing the Coyotes again. You're playing the Sabres twice in your next 3. You need to get 6 points in these next 3 games. You have to. You literally have to. And it's tough to see Dylan Larkin go down during the stretch, but you can't fall off here. You need to go out there and get points and get comfortable lead again on that wild card spot.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I know Dylan Larkin being out for 4 of those games, that's rough. He's your captain. He's your 1C. He's arguably the best and most important player on the team. That's arguable, but I think you can make the argument for him. But to me, that doesn't account for a 5-game losing streak in which you were outscored 25-8. And by the way, that's an average final score of 5 to 1.6. This was a team that was firmly in a playoff spot, and now they're not. It 100% is panic time. And oh, by the way, they've been outscored on the power play 6-2 in the last 5 games. And here, back to the pillars. Man, do I love these pillars. I don't like it when somebody is beyond reproach. What that means is you can't criticize them for anything. And anything that you think you can criticize them for is actually proof of how great they are. Let me give you a good example. Let's circle back to the Mike Tomlin argument. And before you guys jump on me, with the Mike Tomlin stuff, I think he would tell you that the fact that he has a losing record in the playoffs is something you can criticize him for. You can't just say that's another reason why he's great. And of course, things were brought up like the last 2 playoff losses at Kansas City and at Buffalo. I'll give you that. I don't put any fault on him for that. But they also had a home playoff loss to Cleveland, a home playoff loss to Jacksonville, a road playoff loss to the Denver Broncos that was quarterbacked by Tim Tebow, a home playoff loss to Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens, and a home playoff loss to David Garrard and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm just saying that you're allowed to say something about that. You can criticize him for it. And oh, by the way, I'll give you another one that's closer to home. I'll land the plane, I promise.
No,
it's the same Jamison Williams discussion. Jamison Williams only had 354 receiving yards last year. I'm not saying he's a bust, but you're allowed to say, I want to see more. Those games where he wasn't doing really anything, it's not just further proof of how great he is. He's had a disappointing career up to this point, although he's had some fabulous moments on the biggest stages. I'll give him that. I feel the exact same way about one Steve Yzerman, because if they don't make the playoffs this year, I'm talking about the Detroit Red Wings, you're allowed to criticize Steve Yzerman.
Where's D-Mac when you need him?
And you know what? D-Mac actually said that this was playoffs or bust this year, but I don't believe him. I don't believe him one bit.
Talk about it.
I feel like he's the lead Steve Bott of them all, and I don't blame him. That was his teammate.
How do you feel about LeBron James?
What are you talking about LeBron James?
Just asking the question. You like LeBron, right?
I do.
Right. Okay. But Tomlin's not a good coach because he can't get it done in the playoffs. LeBron has a losing record in the finals, but is he great?
Mike Tomlin has.
Is he great?
Hold on.
Okay.
But that's a terrible argument because LeBron James has
They're both not getting it done in the playoffs.
LeBron James has 4 championships. 4.
Tomlin's got his. Yeah. The NFL's a little bit different.
And you know when it happened?
And has Tomlin jumped ship and gone to different teams with super teams to try to chase his down? Shut the hell up. LeBron hasn't even been the best player on any of his teams.
You're a dumbass for saying that. You are a real dumbass for saying that.
You're a stats guy. Check the stats.
He has 4 finals MVPs.
Kyrie hit the shot.
Kyrie hit the shot. LeBron had
It wasn't LeBron.
LeBron led the entire series in every statistical category.
Except game-winning shots.
I win, you lose.
But wait, how can you judge Tomlin on strictly playoffs, but you can't judge LeBron the same way?
Because Mike Tomlin has a losing record in the playoffs.
LeBron has a losing record in the finals.
Does he have a losing record in the playoffs, dumbass? Come on!
In the finals. It's a lot easier to have a winning record in a series-based playoff system than it is in a one and done. That's just common sense. He could go 4-1 and now get swept and just be 1 game under. I don't know what you're talking about. Tomlin has won championships.
One! You can't say plural! I win, you lose again! I do research. I know facts. I know facts more than anyone in this building.
I don't believe so. Because now you're sucking off LeBron for being a loser in the finals, but you're going against Tomlin.
How did this get to this? Stick, stop trying to make Stick blow up. I mean, stop trying to make Sam blow a gasket, man.
Let's go to break and get to Steve Yzerman when we come back. Swiss Insurance. I got good news and I got some bad news.
I have a wife.
That's good news. The bad news is insurance rates are going up across the board in Michigan. The good news is Swiss Insurance is here to help. Right now, more than ever, it's critical for you to have your insurance reviewed. Swiss will make sure your carrier does not slip at extra fees or raise deductibles. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today or visit SwissINS.com. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Take a breath, bro.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Hey, be a winner, unlike bum-ass LeBron James, and make sure you go to jacklabrador.gg right now. It's a new game that not even LeBron could mess up in the finals. It's got new things for you to do. Learn to play now on your phone at jacklabrador.gg. 2 new symbols and a franchise-changing three-point play like Kyrie Irving hit to save LeBron's ass. jacklabrador.gg. Pick it up.
Speak easy, you are wrong. Mike Tomlin has 1 Super Bowl win. He went to 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
He won 1.
Yep.
That was Cowers got the other one for the...
All right. So, but anywho, I wanted to get to Steve Yzerman because I think this is going to divide the chat. And it might even divide this room, and it might divide this network.
Wouldn't be the first time.
I think that Steve Yzerman, if they don't make the playoffs, it's a 100% failed season. It's pass or fail. And some might say, yeah, he had all those contracts to get rid of. And I understand that. And Neil Rule, he breaks it down every single one of them. But here's where I would counter to that. I'm not saying that the Detroit Red Wings need to be a Stanley Cup team this year. They could make the playoffs, get swept in the first round by a combined score of 20-5, and I'd be like, great season. They need to make it. And the reality is right now is that their offense, it's pretty much fixed. And of course, having Dylan Larkin out, that hurts your team. But as I said, it's been 25-8 in a 5-game losing streak in which they watched their once comfortable playoff lead evaporate completely. And here's where I look at Steve Yzerman having some culpability. I think, and I understand it's hindsight, that not enough was done to address the defense. It hasn't really improved at all by the numbers. Last season, they allowed 3.35 goals per game. This year, it is 3.30. And I will say this, and Spenny, I actually want you to tell me if you agree or disagree. I'm not asking you like leading questions or anything like that.
Sorry to interrupt. Breaking news. Bears are expected to make a major push to land Eagles free agent running back DeAndre Swift.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Look out.
Hey-oh.
Wow.
We took their girl. They're going to try to take our old girl.
They can have it.
Yeah. Sloppy seconds. Go ahead, Sam. Sorry.
No, go talk about Swift. Talk about Swift.
Give me his stats, Mr. Statman.
He had for 1,000 yards last year. But anywho, I know you
Listen,
don't like...
we got to break the news.
No,
it's free agent day.
Stick, you interrupt me every fucking time we do a show together.
Yeah.
All the time.
It's called a banter show. Not a Flannel Sam, I preach show.
Well, I can preach because I got the mic. So do you, though.
Yeah, so we all got mics. That's all right, go ahead.
Now talk about Swift.
No, we don't need breaking news here. We're not a live sports network.
All right. Anywho, Spencer, are you at risk for being a non-playoff team when Jeff Petrie plays 19 minutes a night?
Yes.
Are you at risk for being a non-playoff team when Oli Mata plays 16 minutes per night?
Yes.
Are you at risk for being a non-playoff team when a guy that you signed to be one of the pillars of the defense and was good for Toronto last year turns out to be a really bad signing, Justin Hull?
Yes.
Are you at risk for being a non-playoff team when you're leaving a guy who would be one of the best defensemen on the team in Grand Rapids for too long?
Yes.
That's my problem with it all. Even guys like Sherratt and Gottspear and Jake Wallman, and for the record, those are all good players, but Sherratt is who he is. I would say that Ghost is more of an offensive defenseman, and Wallman, for being really, really good, he gets elevated by the fans because he gritties. I believe that 100%. You can't convince me otherwise. So
Wallman's a top 4 guy.
no, he is. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying that he does get elevated by the fans because he gritties, but he's also a very, very good player. My point of it all is that if they don't make the playoffs and it's because of their defense, I think that falls back on some of the bad signings that Steve Yzerman made and the decision to keep Edvinsson back down in Grand Rapids. So they have to make the playoffs this year or else I will criticize him. And I'll tell you what, and a lot of people really aren't going to like this, if Steve Yzerman doesn't make the playoffs after 6 years, he should be fired. Fired.
Whoa.
A lot of people, I joke that a lot of people would be 100% cool with the 10-year plan. It could be tested. I'll just say that. Spenny, am I off base?
I think you're off base a little bit.
Okay.
I would say you're off base because the NHL isn't the NFL or the NBA where you bring guys up as soon as they're drafted and they make immediate impacts. It takes a couple years for guys to develop in the minors, in the AHL, and wherever they are. So you can't have this, we just drafted these great players, now they're going to be on the team next year. We got lucky with Mo Seider and Lucas Raymond. Lucas Raymond kind of being forced on the lineup because of injury his rookie year and had that effect. But I don't think we're going to say that Steve Yzerman deserves to be fired if they don't make the playoffs. It's still... you still have a little... Is it a disappointment? Yes. Would the season be a failure in my mind if they don't make the playoffs? Yes. But I'm not going to say the guy deserves to be fired.
I guess my point with it all is that if they don't make the playoffs, I think you're allowed to criticize Steve Yzerman. I don't think that every move that he makes, everything that he does is just further proof that he's a genius. And I think that's what some of the fans are actually going to say. And the person who sits in this chair usually is going to say. It's just another proof that the Yzerman Plan 1919 is working 100% swimmingly. And I'm not down with that. And I'm not saying that their season's over or anything like that. They could shut me right up. They've got their next game is at Buffalo. You better win that game because, oh, by the way, Buffalo, they're only 7 points behind and they have 3 games remaining against the Detroit Red Wings. And they probably see the Red Wings as vulnerable right now. And then you got 4 out of 5, home versus Arizona, home versus Buffalo, home versus Columbus, home versus the Islanders, which you also better win, and at Pittsburgh. In that 6-game stretch, I got to see at least 9 points. Larkin be damned. 4 1-1 minimum.
Yeah.
Because right after that, you've got the gauntlet of all gauntlets. You've got at Nashville, at Washington, at Carolina, at Florida, and at Tampa Bay. You'd probably be lucky to squeak out of that road trip with 4. So now's the time to just turn it on. And I get it. Harder than it's going to be a lot harder without Larkin. I think he's going to come back, in around the 17th or something like that, where he's projected to, and that would be at Pittsburgh or the next game against Columbus. It's just, at some point, you just got to have it. And I understand what Steve Yzerman walked into, but my point is that I don't have high expectations for them this year. Just to make it, whatever happens, happens. Whatever happens, be damned.
Can we talk about the elephant in the room?
What's the elephant in the room?
Well, first of all, NFL breaking news trumps anything we do on this network.
Fair.
Second of all, the patch on the jersey. Nobody's addressed the patch on the jersey. Like, Steve Yzerman can do whatever the hell he wants, but until they decide to get that patch off the jersey, the Red Wings are just going to be on this losing streak, and I feel so bad for that company.
Priority ways.
I feel so... Imagine, being in that corporate office, guys, we're doing something nobody's ever done. We got the jersey on the Red Wings. We're going to have our logo on there. It's going to blow our company up. And now everybody just looks at them as horrible. They're getting 1-star reviews on Google from fans until they drop the logo from the jersey. Yep. So we could talk the Yzer plan all you want, but until that logo is gone, I don't know what to tell you. It's so crazy to me how it went on the jersey, and they just suck now.
No, and I hate to make it that simple because I don't think their defense or even their goaltending is good enough for the record. But it is kind of suspicious that they were on a 6-game winning streak. They were flying high. They were looking at potentially catching Toronto in their division, and now they are literally tied for the last playoff spot. And I forgot who said it in the chat. The Red Wings are fine. They're the 7th seed. No, they were fine. They definitely were fine, but the New York Islanders decided to mess around and go on a winning streak of their own, highlighted by a win at Little Caesars Arena in a game that Dylan Larkin played in, a game that Ole Mata scored 2 goals.
Well, 2 weeks ago, they were 76% playoff lock.
What are they
now? They're flirting at like 45.
Oh, my God.
Like, it's a coin flip if they're even going to get in the playoffs. And we were excited around here. We were talking about, planning parties downtown for it, watch parties, like trying to get prepared for this. And as soon as Larkin goes down, it seems to be all over.
No, and I get how important he is. But,
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Sorry, there is breaking news.
Hey, how dare you!
Yeah. Defensive tackle Christian Wilkins is a top target for the Detroit Lions.
Ooh, let's go.
Take that.
Let's go.
Him next to Lee McNeil in between Hutchinson, that'd be pretty nice.
Yeah, man.
Sounds like a fun
And,
Sunday.
Demario Davis has reworked a contract where 2-year, $17.25 million deal. Wow. For one of the best linebackers in the league.
And that's the Saints.
Yeah.
And we know how what their cap situation is.
Help.
So I'll tell you what, the New Orleans Saints, they're going to find a way, I think, to at least be relevant this year. What happens to them in the future, it could be not pretty. But, hey, if Demario Davis is willing to restructure, then who knows what's going to happen. But first, if any of them need to work out, if some of those Red Wings players who are not playing well, if one of those now 11 players with 10-plus goals on the team that are healthy need to work out a little bit more, where do they go, Stick?
Oh, well, you got to Planet Fitness. The only place you should go work out. They got everything that you need, and it's only $10 a month. They got locations. Pretty much you can throw a rock and hit a Planet Fitness. They are all over Metro Detroit. So go find you one, and you know what? Upgrade to that black card. Treat yourself. You'll get the massage beds, you'll get the tanning, and all the fun stuff that comes along with it. Planet Fitness, your fitness is essential.
Big Boy Seafood Fest is sailing in with a fresh catch of favorites. Dive into fish and chips, our new palm-crusted cod, perfectly fried clam shrimp platter, or a delicious fish sandwich. Try our new mango iced tea, the ultimate complement to our popcorn shrimp, our all-new fried pickles, shrimp alfredo, or shrimp stir-fry. Experience all the sea has to offer every Friday night with our all-you-can-eat seafood buffet. Every day is a fish fry, only at Big Boy.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports. Every year, after a cold and dreary winter, Metro Detroiters come together for 2 things: Tigers baseball and the best damned party in the world. A new season of Tigers baseball is here, and we're bringing in the new season as only Woodward Sports knows how. Broadcasting live from the biggest party. It's the Grand Slam Festival at the Detroit Opera House. Come party with 4,000 Detroit sports fans, starting with Wake Up Woodward and rolling into Big D Energy. This is a party you don't want to miss, with Detroit's best DJs, food trucks, and of course, shots. Get your tickets now at GrandSlamFest.com. 21 plus. See you April 5th at the Grand Slam Fest.
Feldman Chevrolet. We are out there every other Monday in Novi doing live shows. Flannel Sam has breakdowns in front of people. It is hilarious. So come on out and buy a car while you're there. That's where Flannel got his car. They took care of him, and it's a great place. Good family friendly, and plus they got locations all over the place. So Feldman Chevrolet, 18 locations. Go to feldmanauto.com.
Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. And Spencer, you had some news in the break if you want to share.
Yeah, it was said that per Diana Rossini that Kirk Cousins, as soon as the tampering window closes, will enter free agency and get discussions with the Atlanta Falcons.
That's a good fit for him.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what.
So what does that mean? What does that mean for the Vikings?
Oh, cooked.
Huh?
That's what that means. They cooked.
Yeah, they're.
You think so?
Yeah. Worst team in NFC North.
Yeah, worst team in the NFC North for sure. They're they have the 11th overall pick. I don't even know who's going to fall to them at 11, honestly, in terms of quarterbacks.
What happens if JJ goes there?
Well, then...
Are you now on their nuts?
No, but I think it'll be a good pick for them if JJ goes there.
He's going to have to sit, though. I don't think he's ready to start.
Well, but on the but on a Kirk Cousinless Vikings, you know.
Yeah. That's what we were talking about earlier. Like, it doesn't matter if he goes to the Broncos too. They're going to need him to start right away. It don't matter if he ain't ready. If you're getting that paycheck, you better be ready.
I feel you.
I have
That's
no
the league
sympathy for professionals in any way. Anyway, when they're getting their ass beat by 70 points, I don't cry about it. They're getting paid too. As the guy who sits in this chair says, they're driving BMWs as well.
Shout out Kirk Cousins. Go get your money.
Absolutely. Go get your money.
Yeah, and Stick, you are definitely on brand with that. You're consistent, so I give you credit. Do you know who else is consistent? Lee, a bitch-ass head coach.
Oh,
Juwan Howard.
Whew, knew this was coming.
Spenny, I know you've got a quote.
Yes, we do. It says, this year alone, we've learned a lot. I feel we have won in a lot of ways.
Man, that's promising.
Talk about it,
Juwan
Sam.
Howard on Michigan season.
Talk about it, Sam.
As I said before, he's a bitch-ass head coach on a bitch-ass program.
You wouldn't say that to his face.
I would.
He probably would.
100%.
He told Darren McCarty those Cubs weren't his.
and of course, would Juwan Howard pummel me? He's already done that to a Wisconsin head coach. But he would definitely do it to me, and he would end my life. I understand that. But yes, I hate this program. Juwan Howard had no right to burn down what was being built, and he 100% did. It's an absolute disgrace and a debacle. And if he comes back for next year, which leads me to my next pillar.
Did you hate Jim Harbaugh?
Swift to the Bears, official. 3 years,
official.
3 years, $24 million.
No, that's actually
For who?
3 years,
DeAndre
$24 million for DeAndre Swift.
Ooh, that's crazy.
I'll tell you what, though.
Hold on, we're talking about Sam's pillars.
No, it's okay. We can talk about.
We don't
Swift.
talk about football.
We can talk about Swift if you
That's
want.
a lot of money for DeAndre Swift.
It is injury-prone DeAndre Swift.
And that's per Mike Garofalo. So
I understand he had a good year last year. I do get that, but I wouldn't pay that much for him.
Yeah, I mean, are they counting on Khalil Herbert, who also has some injury issues? Probably not. They've got money to spend, but is this going to be like the next Edmonds deal? I know Edmonds made a lot more money, but he was overpaid. And he didn't play. He wasn't that good last year. He was certainly worse than his linebacker counterpoint, TJ Edwards, who actually had a good contract. The Bears should be thanking their lucky stars for that. But yes.
What's Montgomery's contract?
It's like $6 million, right?
6.5.
Yeah.
The Bears just got God, man. Imagine being the Bears, letting Montgomery walk for $6 and then paying $8 for Swift after what he did this past year.
Yes. $15.3 million guaranteed.
Yeah, fuck.
They didn't realize that their problem is the offensive line. Yeah. Like Montgomery was always a good back. It was the O-line. So
that's why we love Brad Holmes and what he's doing right now, re-signing Glasgow. Yeah. I mean, that's why, once again, it goes back to it. That's why you got to love it, because it don't matter who you got back there if you can't block for them. And oh man, the Bears spending money on Swift. You gotta love that.
Yeah, and
I love Swift coming out of college.
They got a lot of money to spend though, so I mean, hey, all power to them.
Yeah, and Swift was good last year.
Yeah,
Swift is good.
Yeah,
he is good.
But
he's a damn good
the
back.
second best offensive line in the NFL.
That's true. That's also 100% fair. And he played a full healthy season, which he could never do
here
as a Lion.
No, he most certainly could not. But I think the Lions are just fine at running back right now.
Oh, yeah. Think about Brad Holmes though, getting rid of Swift and getting rid of Hawkinson. How much money that saved this team?
Yeah, a lot.
And getting Laporta on a rookie deal, and bringing in Montgomery for $6 million. Now you got Gibbs on a rookie deal. Just in those moves alone, he saved this at least $10 million off the cap.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Probably more than that, but yeah.
Hey, he's a wizard. That's how you go from a 3-13-1 in year 1 to an NFC Championship game in year 3 when you come into a bad situation. Shout out Brad Holmes and DeAndre Swift. I hope you don't do well with the Bears, because the Bears are our rivals. So. Yeah. I don't want him to get hurt. I just hope that it turns out to be a bad signing.
It's got to be backed by committee. He's not holding that down by himself.
Sure. And Khalil Herbert, he's a solid back, but he's another one that has had some trouble.
Too small.
Healthy.
Yeah, too small.
That's a perfectly reasonable argument, by the way. Perfectly reasonable. All right, so
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, but Cody Ingle said something, kind of getting back to Juwan Howard really quick. Howard is the actual third base coach. He built nothing, which is that is the greatest thing Cody Ingle has ever said in the chat. After starting off kind of slow, and by my estimations, he has really come on strong lately. Because do you want to know what Michigan under Juwan Howard did this year? 8-23. 3-17 in conference.
Woo.
3-17.
Solid.
And their last 8 games, in which they lost every single one of them, they lost 7 by double digits. They lost 4 by at least 20 and 1 by 30. Michigan had a 5-10 record at home. The next worst in the Big Ten was Maryland at 11-6. I did not make that up. That is a true statement. And this season also, back when there was actually a chance at them being competitive, they lost to Long Beach State. They lost to Oregon in overtime, in which the Olivia Kamoa missed a couple free throws that could have salted it away. Lost to Indiana at home with a halftime lead. Lost in double overtime to Florida, despite having a three-point lead in overtime with 21 seconds left. They lost to McNeese by 11, who are good under Will Wade, but that's the Southland Conference. When you go into Chrysler Center,
shout out to Joe Dumars.
Shut up. You should
state finest.
Yes, absolutely. You shouldn't just go into Chrysler and win by 11. You shouldn't. Lost to Minnesota at home with a halftime lead. Lost to Penn State.
We could
with
go through and list
lead.
these all games. I know that's what you love to do. We know their record sucks, right?
Worst team in Power 5 basketball.
Okay. So my question is, Harbaugh had a rough stretch to start off his run.
Not as rough as Juwan. Don't do the Harbaugh thing.
Why
Don't
not?
do the Harbaugh
Why
thing.
not? We can have conversations, Sam.
Okay, we can have
Harbaugh. If you ask Ohio State people, quit against playing Ohio State during COVID because they were 2-4.
He did.
He did. 2-4 is similar to what is going on with the basketball team right now.
Harbaugh's was different though, because he was at least putting out winning seasons. Now, was he getting the job done?
Juwan put out some early winning seasons.
That was early
not
though.
Really.
He took over Beeline's
really.
teams and kind of rode that.
Not really though.
But do you think they could turn it around under Howard at all?
Nope.
Why do you think that is?
Because let me go back to Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh was the coach sent from heaven. At least that's what he was billed to be. And by his resume, he was. But
Michigan fans hated him 3 years in. I heard so many Michigan fans like you say that, he's not the guy. He's not getting it done. We got to move on from Harbaugh. And my question to them was always, okay, who are you going to replace him with? Who's better? And they could never give me a response. So here's the question: who are you going to replace Howard with?
Spencer Raxter, Sam Day, KG, or Sam Reynolds?
No,
I'm dead fucking serious.
Yeah, so am I. None of us are going to be eligible for that job.
I'll take the job. I did take coaching basketball at MSU. I did. I got 4 pointed it too.
I mean, I coached little league teams in Walled Lake.
Yeah.
I just want to be the assistant coach that fights people during the scuffles and shit like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you do though? I mean, problems are great. Solutions are better.
But he's so bad that I don't. Why do I have to say who I want? 8-23, 3-17, and oh by the way, do you want to talk about what happened last year? I'll be brief. I promise. They had 2 top 15 picks in the NBA draft. I want to ask you guys a trivia question. How many other Big Ten teams had any top 15 picks last year combined? How many? Zero. Correct, Spencer Raxter. And they also had Hunter Dickinson, who had a season in which he was first team All Big Ten. How many other players made first team All Big Ten? How many?
4.
It was actually 5. But
so aren't you giving Howard credit right now?
No, I'm not giving Howard credit because they didn't make the goddamn tournament, Stick. They didn't make the tournament, and they had all that talent.
But isn't the point of college to get you ready for the next level?
Oh, so it's a success because 2 guys went to the. If you think that Juwan Howard's been a success or he's any reason comparable to Harbaugh,
I'm just asking questions, Sam. I'm just asking questions because that used to be the knock on Harbaugh. He can't win, but he was putting players into the NFL and doing his job as that part of the coach.
Harbaugh was winning. He just wasn't winning the Big Ten or beating Ohio State. Or even Michigan State.
Yeah, of course, because outside of 1 year, everybody can beat Appalachian State. I mean, Michigan plays the high school for the blind, and it's okay. It's okay, because so do all Big Ten schools. I mean, that's just part of how this stupid college football system's set up. And until they regulate, hey, the good schools are going to play the good schools, the bad schools aren't even qualifying for the big prize. Until you get that, you're going to get fluff-ass schedules.
I get it.
And, I don't know.
I'll give you the biggest difference between Harbaugh and Juwan Howard, and I won't even go by the resume because Jim Harbaugh was infinitely qualified to be the football head coach. Juwan Howard was not. Jim Harbaugh had a 10-win season in 2015, a 10-win season in 2016, a 10-win season in 2018, a 9-win season in 2019, and an 8-win season in 2017. I'm not saying that was good enough. It most certainly was not. And that COVID year was a disaster, but it was also the COVID year. That was a weird year for everybody. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying, but with Juwan Howard, he came in his first year, despite having Xavier Simpson, John Teskey, a freshman future top 10 pick, Franz Wagner, and Isaiah Livers. If they would have been allowed to play that tournament, they might not get in. The next season, they made the Elite Eight fine, but they choked in the Elite Eight to an 11-seed UCLA in a game where they only scored 49 points. The next season, they had the best incoming recruiting class in the Big Ten, highlighted by Moussa Diabate and Caleb Houston, and a returning Big Ten freshman Player of the Year and a second-team All-American, Hunter Dickinson, and they ended up losing 15 games that year. They barely squeaked into the tournament and made a fluke Sweet 16 run. And as I said before, as last year, they had 2 top 15 picks and Hunter Dickinson, and they didn't even make the tournament. Those are not equal. Juwan Howard has had great talent every single year except this one. And he's done dick with it. He's burned down what John Beilein built. John Beilein's the greatest coach in school history. Juwan Howard is the dictionary definition of born on third base.
He's greater than Steve Fisher?
Steve Fisher and John Beilein, I think, are kind of like, you can argue them. I'm not going to hate it if you go with Steve Fisher, but my point is that Juwan Howard has done nothing, and he was not qualified to be this school's head coach. Jim Harbaugh, and obviously he's turned it around to ultimately become the greatest coach in school history, but even in his first few years, his first 5 years, or 5 or 6 years, which were not good enough, by the way, he still brought Michigan back from the doldrums of Rich Rod and Brady Hoke and led Michigan to at least consistently be a 10-win team. That's what earned him some, I would say, carte blanche, which I didn't even think at the time he deserved. And you were right, Stick. I was wrong. He turned it around, became the best coach in school history. It's just, with Juwan Howard, I hope that every time he walks around the city of Ann Arbor, all he hears is, boo, you suck. Go to your favorite restaurant. Boo, you suck. Go to church. The priest stops the mass. Boo, Juwan Howard, you suck. That is what you get for burning down a very successful basketball program. So, Juwan Howard, here's what you get. Here's what you get. And you know what else? Let me just do one thing, my pillars, because pillars are a good thing to me.
Tell them how you feel, Sam.
This is how I feel. You know what I hate more than anything in the world? And this applies if Juwan Howard comes back. Consequenceless behavior. Spencer Raxter, I will go to you first.
Yes.
Was it almost worse that Jay Johnson was allowed to return in 2023 after wasting away a season with an offense that had Keon Coleman and Jaden Reed?
Yes.
It was the fact that there were no consequences. Mm-hmm. What was the worst thing about the Matt Millen era? It's that he had 8 years. Yeah. What was the worst thing about the Al Avila era? Not the fact that he traded Justin Verlander and JD Martinez, who would both go on to win World Series, one win Cy Youngs, one be second in the MVP race, to his teammate Mookie Betts. Who did we get to watch? Daz Cameron? Franklin Perez, you didn't watch him because he never played. Dawel Lugo?
Jordan Zimmerman.
Sergio Alcantara?
Yeah, a bunch of Alcantaras, and none of them played.
There were no consequences. He had 6+ years. He got extended in 2019, the season in which they won 47 games. It's the same thing with Juwan Howard. If he comes back, there are no consequences. You can have the worst season in school history after wasting a season in which you didn't even make the tournament when you had the best talent in all of the Big Ten, and having a disappointing season the year before and a disappointing season in his first year, and there are no consequences. That's what I hate. If there are no consequences to this, it'll be one of the biggest blunders in the history of the school. I no longer care about this Michigan basketball program because it's fallen that far. Fuck Juwan Howard. Fuck Ward Manuel.
You said Ward Manuel?
Yes.
The guy just got you a natty in football?
I'm a little emotional.
Took him
I'm a little emotional. Dude, come on. He got you a natty.
No.
Cheating ass natty, but it doesn't matter. You got the natty.
Yeah.
Well,
Ward,
and for the record,
Ward bought himself some time. He had to buy himself some time in your book.
And just for the record,
and what about their baseball team? Michigan baseball's looking all right.
But I will acknowledge, if this was what I had to endure to watch a football national championship, I'll take it. My point is that there needs to be more outcry for how bad it's been. Juwan Howard cannot be allowed to return. And if he is, it will show that there are no consequences.
It's
and
crazy
that's the worst
how
part.
far he's fallen.
Yep.
Because I remember when he got announced, oh my God, it was similar to Jim Harbaugh. The Savior's returning. He's getting the Fab Five back together. Like, we're all feel good inside the Chryslers. We're going to get the banners back up there. Jalen Rose is talking to Chris Webber again. Like, it's a big party, and he's got LeBron going into recruits, calling them and letting them know to come to Michigan. And none of it, man. None of it's worked out.
And they made
were you high on him when we got him?
I had a few questions because he hadn't been a head coach before. But after they made the Elite Eight in year 2, even though I think they choked away a Final Four chance, they still were the Big Ten regular season champs. They still were the 1 seed. That was a good year. He just hasn't built on it. So at that time, I was like, okay, this can work, and now I'm 100% out. And how could I not be?
The thing with college basketball, though, is you just need that one guy. If you get that one guy next year, he's going to be a brilliant coach again. So that's why I'm asking you. Like, it's okay to hate him right now, but a lot of people hated Harbaugh and then got back on the bandwagon. It could be the same way for Juwan Howard, and you're saying don't even give him the chance.
No, he had those guys last year.
So, a little bit of breaking news. Bills 3-time Pro Bowl left tackle Deion Dawkins is signing a 3-year, $60.5 million extension.
$20 million a year.
Ooh.
What does that mean for Penei Sewell? If he's getting paid $20 million a year, what's Penei going to get? That makes him the 4th highest paid tackle in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, Penei's the best tackle in the NFL. He's going to get paid like the best tackle in the NFL.
The highest paid.
But what makes it interesting for Penei right now is he's the right tackle, right?
Yep.
You're going to pay your left tackle $20 million a year. Right tackle, it's tough to justify it unless they don't plan on signing Decker in the future. So I mean, that's it.
And I think that's where they're going.
Yeah, you got to move Penei to the left after Decker leaves. And this is what we were talking about earlier in the show. Some of your favorite players are going to go just because of money.
Yeah.
And, like, it's a good problem to have. It's a rich people problem. First world problems. We're finally, sad to be losing some of our good players because we can't afford to sign them all. But that's what the NFL does. It's based on parity. It's not going to allow you to just keep paying people and paying people and paying people.
Yep. But, I think Penei Sewell's definitely making more than 20 because he's the best tackle and he's the best offensive lineman in the NFL. I know he's never played left tackle, at least not that. He did at one point.
He did.
Not this.
First game of his career, he started against Bosa, remember, on the left side.
Not this year, though. Taylor Decker is still the full-time left tackle. Yeah. But Penei Sewell, by the numbers, had one of the best seasons by a tackle in NFL history.
Dude, he's amazing.
Yeah.
When one play that will always stick out to me from last year is when he was a pulling tackle from the right side to the left side. There was a defensive end that had contained. He didn't even block the defensive end. He faked like he was going to block him. The defensive end slowed down. By that time, the running back was beyond, and Penei went and got the cornerback. And it was like, Jesus, people are so intimidated by this dude. They're responding to him just flinching at you.
Ooh, yeah.
That's how good and how agile he is. I love Penei Sewell. And not only do I love him as a player, I love him as a man off the field. Have you followed this guy? He's always got his son with him. He's like a big, gentle giant when he's not on the field. But when he's on the field, he got that dog in him, grabbing Aaron Donald by the face mask as a rookie, saying, "You ain't stronger than me. You ain't pushing me around." And that's when I knew that it was something special here. And to have that guy anchoring this, you lock him up for eternity.
Yeah. Hey, Spenny, can we go to break and then give your breaking news afterwards?
Yeah, it's not really breaking news.
All right.
Yeah, we can go to break.
Premier Pet?
Yeah, Premier Pet Supplies, hands down, Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the conveniences of the online and big box retailers with one major difference. They're family and locally owned and operated for 30 plus years, over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts to help you. Same day local curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply, give your pet the best. www.premierpetsupply.com.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC, the same great service that customers have come to know and trust on Woodward Avenue just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Welcome back to Big D Energy live on the Woodward Sports Network. Stick, what do you got?
The keys to wisdom. Sam is on a mission for a sugar daddy. Insult enough rich people badly until one of them attacks you. Boom. Jackpot. Sam wins.
Hey.
Is that your strategery?
No, I mean, I'm fully aware that everybody
definitely do that.
could end my life with their bare hands. I'm fully aware of that. Fully aware that D-Mac could. I'm fully aware that Lindsey Hunter could. Juwan Howard. All of them could.
But you stand on business anyway.
I talk about sports, and if someone's not doing their job, I got to call them out. But a lot of free agency stuff is happening, or some re-signings right now, and it leads to the question, and Stick, I want to get your opinion on this. Brad Holmes' free agent strategy. Are you thinking more, is he going to make the big splash, or is he going to, and I'm not going to use the term depth piece, I'm going to say smaller moves at positions of need that would make your team better, but might not be like the sizzle. How do you think he'll play this?
I don't know. Just like when it comes draft time in Brad Holmes, I don't know. I don't know who's on his draft board. I don't know what he's looking to do. I don't know if he's going to trade in or trade out. The one thing I do know is until he gives me a reason to doubt him, he's doing the right thing.
It's fair.
So if he just wants to re-sign a bunch of guys and run it back because they feel they had good vibes in that locker room, and they were a half away from the Super Bowl, Brad Holmes has a better pulse on that team than I ever will. And I know that's almost a lazy take, but it's also the point of comfort that I have now as a Lions fan that I've never had before, and I don't have with any of our other teams, right?
Yeah.
So Brad Holmes, to me, he's made decisions that I was like, really? Trade? Okay, right. You're trading to get, okay. Last year, God, you would have thought the world ended. And when you go back and watch the Woodward draft party, everybody, who the hell is Sam Laporta? Who the hell is Jack Campbell? They passed on Bijan, but got this Gibbs guy when they could have gotten the tackle that the Eagles took that murdered his teammate and ran away.
Come on, Steve.
Was he not involved in that?
He did not murder his teammate.
They were racing.
He did not murder
Okay, he did not put his hand on. He was
information.
part of a death of a teammate and ran away from the police report. Is that fair?
He gave his police report.
No, he fled the scene.
He did flee, but he
Talk to the
returned.
cops.
He
returned.
fled, but he returned. Okay, which is fine. Whatever. That
He
has
didn't kill
nothing to
anybody.
do
Let's
with
not
it.
do that.
But did you not hear the complaints that they didn't go get Jalen Carter?
Yes.
Did you not hear the bitching that they drafted a guy that we didn't know was a good running back? And that's the benefit of the doubt that Brad Holmes has earned with the entire, I think, Detroit fan base. I don't know many people that even if now he makes a move that they don't agree with, will throw the baby out with the bathwater and be like, I don't know. I didn't know that guy. It's not going to be good. I think now everybody's like, who's that? Let's wait and see. Even if it's a fourth-round pick like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, or wasn't Iffy a fourth-round pick?
Third, I believe.
Third-round pick?
Yeah.
But even those later-round picks, those are the guys that he's cashing in on. So I don't know what he's going to do. From his talk, he's saying that they want to pay the homegrown guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But is that a smokescreen?
He also said that you address needs in free agency and you acquire talent in the draft. And the two biggest needs on this team are defensive line and cornerbacks.
Yep.
And they're in talks with a lot of big-name guys.
Yeah.
So I would love to see it. I think he's going to sign some people. I think he's going to sign some real deal people.
You think so?
Yeah, because I think he knows that this is the window. The Detroit Lions are there right now. They were 1 or 2 players away from the Super Bowl last year.
Do you think he regrets not going after a Chase Young like
well,
everybody wanted him to at the trade deadline?
He tried to get Daniil Hunter.
I heard he tried to get
came
Daniil
out
Hunter.
here.
Yep.
Which I love. And so if you would have traded and paid Daniil Hunter, why won't you just pay him in free agency?
Hey,
That's true.
no, and you put Daniil Hunter on this defensive line opposite Aiden Hutchinson and with a Lee McNeil in the middle. I mean, Daniil Hunter and Aiden Hutchinson, that's the best bookend rush duo in the NFL. Right away.
Immediately.
Immediately. And for the record, Stick, I think that you're right. And just because your default answer is trust Brad Holmes, that doesn't make you a Brad bot. That doesn't make you a bathwater drinker. Brad Holmes is actually,
Until he proves me wrong, right? Until he gives you a reason to doubt, why would you not trust this man? And I think that's something that Lions fans aren't used to.
Sure.
Because we're so used to the front office feeling like they're smarter than everybody, but then they're really not smarter than everybody. No. And now we got a guy where we feel he's smarter than everybody. But I will say this. Brad Holmes, remember that press conference he gave like a month ago where he was calling out people for doubting his drafts? Yeah. I'm not saying he put a target on his back, but he's put more pressure on himself, right?
Sure.
Because now, if you're going to point fingers, guess what? People are going to start pointing them back when you mess up, and people are going to start feeling offended that you actually singled them out.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I love how cocky he is, but you got to follow up that cocky with results. Otherwise, it's going to turn into something that it's not. I don't think we'll ever get there because of the mission that these men have in place and the leadership that's in that building. But I trust Brad Holmes to do whatever he wants, and even if it's something I don't agree with, I'm humble enough to understand and look myself in the mirror and say, Brad Holmes probably knows more than me.
Yeah, 100%. And it's weird because this team was, literally this close. This close despite having who they had as a number 2 corner and who they had as a bookend edge rusher. That in and of itself is pretty damn amazing. And Hoofhearted says something in the chat that I disagree with wholeheartedly. Chase Young wasn't a difference maker anyways. Here's the thing though. Did you see Nick Bosa's sack numbers skyrocket once Chase Young entered the lineup? He went from 3.5 to 10.5. Did you see Chase Young get a sack in the Super Bowl? I'm not saying that he was an all-pro, but he did what he was supposed to do. And Chase Young was on the team that actually beat the Lions.
The knock on him, though, is he takes plays off,
Sure,
right?
sure.
And that's not a locker room fit for Dan Campbell. You start taking plays off, you're not going to be on the field. Right. So that's, Chase Young a talented player? You're damn right he's a talented. He was a rookie of the year, was he? The number 2 overall pick. Yep. Like, the guy's got talent, but does he have the motor that these guys are looking for?
Well, and the more the Lions seasons occur, the more I think we can all acknowledge that being a Brad Holmes, being a Dan Campbell guy does matter. And usually in most situations, I would kind of dismiss that as just fluffer stuff, but the results speak for themselves. I can't deny the results. 3-13-1 year 1, 12-5 division title, NFC Championship game appearance in year 3. So I would always default to trust Brad Holmes. But KG, I'm going to go to you next. What are you thinking for Brad Holmes? A big splash move, or like a guy who maybe on surface sounds a little overwhelming but would instantly help the team?
With the reports of Christian Wilkins, them being in the sights, and then the news that we got about they did try to trade for Danielle Hunter, that leads me to believe that he's not afraid to push the button on a big name. We still have to see what the money's going to look like, because we all know that's really what's going to be the make or break, is what the money looks like, what the contract looks like. But I don't think he's afraid to go out here and make some moves, man. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen here, but I got faith that he will push the button on something big. So
sure.
And breaking news: there's an edge rusher off the board per Tom Pelissero and Ian Rappaport. The Vikings are signing Texan star Jonathan Greenyard.
Wow,
damn.
That's a great signing.
Yep.
No,
that's because they know they're losing Danielle Hunter.
They need a hedge rusher.
They need it. And Jonathan Greenyard, he was another one who you could maybe be suspicious was a contract year bump, but he had a great year last year. He was phenomenal, and he was a big piece of that defense. One of the reasons that the Texans won. And hey, he's going from being under DeMeco Ryans, who's a defensive head coach, to a damn good defensive coordinator in Brian Flores. So I think that is a good fit for the Minnesota Vikings. And hey, maybe they are going to be more of a factor in the NFC North than we think. I don't think they're as formidable as the other two teams, but we shall see. What do we have for breaks, Benny?
Jack Labrador.
Jack Labrador.
Again? Jack Labrador.gg. That's where you need to go to pick up this new game. It's like paper, rock, scissors, but it's completely different. They added some new things. It's a lot of fun. You want to play it in the off season? Go to jacklabrador.gg right now, or scan that QR code that's right above my head, right there. Scan it. Download, play, have fun.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness. Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports. Every year, after a cold and dreary winter, Metro Detroiters come together for two things: Tigers baseball and the best damned party in the world. A new season of Tigers baseball is here, and we're bringing in the new season as only Woodward Sports knows how. Broadcasting live from the biggest party. It's the Grand Slam Festival at the Detroit Opera House. Come party with 4,000 Detroit sports fans, starting with Wake Up Woodward and rolling into Big D Energy. This is a party you don't want to miss, with Detroit's best DJs, food trucks, and of course, shots. Get your tickets now at GrandSlamFest.com. 21 plus. See you April 5th at the Grand Slam Fest.
What's better than crispy chicken and pizza while watching your favorite team play? Let me tell you about Soroki's crispy chicken and pizza. Their food is amazing, and their locations are popping up all over Detroit. They have one in Warren. It's like a mile and a half away from my house. Great stuff. A perfect takeout option featuring ham-breaded fried chicken, New York pizza, fresh salads, sides, and more. Check out their full menu and find the closest Soroki's near you at Sorokis.com. That's SAROKIS.com. Soroki's in Woodward Sports. Now that's crispy.
Welcome back to Big D Energy or Average D Energy on today's show. Live.
She said it was perfect.
Hey, feel you on that one. Live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam. The guy to my right is Sam Stick Day. We still love each other even if we fight like brothers.
That's what this like.
Absolutely.
If we sat up here and just like, hey, Flannel Sam, you agree with my opinion? Yeah, I agree with your opinion. Awesome. Let's agree together and hold deeks. No, we're not going to do that.
I think we actually might have put two of the least agreeable people on the same desk, and that's why it always gets so explosive. We got Sam.
Well, that and you're always wrong.
Oh, okay.
Yep, here we go.
Anywho, Spencer Rexter in the TD booth and KG in the sound booth. And man, why do people have to do this to me? I went at Kool-Aid pretty hard earlier, but now I got to go at Broder because he's saying what I said with the whole Chase Young helped out Nick Bosa. Did you see Iffy's numbers skyrocket when CJ returned? Again, quick search. Iffy Melifonwu's best 2 games of the season were the game at home versus the Denver Broncos and at Minnesota. CJ Gardner-Johnson did not play in either of them. But did he motivate him from the sidelines is the big question.
Yeah, I was about to say he was in the locker room at that point.
Don't care. You're never more valuable off the field than you are on it.
Is there any movement on the CJ thing?
I haven't heard anything yet.
I don't think you can re-sign that guy.
Nice.
All right. Here we go.
We agree on something. I love it.
Yeah,
Here we go.
I mean,
if you weren't going to re-sign him, this is a year to grab a safety, though. Like, there's a lot of safeties out there.
Yeah, the market's very diluted. There's going to be a lot of guys in free agency. If you can get him for a cheap deal where he comes back and he's your third safety, I'm cool with it.
I just see a point in the season where Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes got sick of his shit. You know, like...
What did he do? Come on, KG.
This team is not about giving other teams locker room material, right?
Who cares?
I don't personally care.
You want choir boys?
No, I don't want choir boys. I want soldiers. That's the difference.
And he's not
soldiers
a soldier.
don't go start their own war outside of the mission of the team.
Soldiers don't come back in 2 months from a torn pectoral muscle.
I'm not questioning his toughness. I'm not questioning any of that. I think he's a solid player. But what I'm saying is, we talk about Brad Holmes guys. We talk about Dan Campbell guys. Don't you think one of these things is not like the other?
Yes.
He's the only, and that's what I'm saying. It's just maybe square peg, round hole situation. It's a no knock on who he is. I just don't think that that's the identity this team wants. Like, we love Jared Goff. Why? He'll shoot you the smart ass comment, but overall he's posed. He's not gonna, he could have taken every single shot at the Rams before that playoff game.
I get you.
And he could have given them so much fodder to come at us with.
Yeah.
But he didn't, right? He handled it like a pro, went out there and whooped some ass. And I'm
saying CJ didn't contribute to the late season push. I understand the NFC Championship
He contributed,
game.
but he also detracted too in some ways. And that's what I'm saying. This team doesn't want those distractions or detractions from the mission. And, his personal vendetta with Baker Mayfield, I love if you're going to come out and pick the ball off from him. But granted, that was a tip ball, kind of a lucky play. He still made the pick, though.
Yeah.
But he also made a bonehead decision flipping the ball to him that didn't get called, and that would have been a 15-yard penalty. So it's like that stuff. And then you look at the Ayuk stuff in the San Francisco game, waving bye-bye to the fans at halftime. Mission wasn't over.
I understand
So I don't want players that are going to be celebrating at halftime. And I'm sure Dan Campbell, and they all saw that. Like, hey, this guy, not only did he, I'm not saying he quit, but he started taking the success for granted. And these guys can never lose that hunger. Dan Campbell knows you can never lose that dog, because the minute you give up or the minute you pull back just this much in the NFL, you're getting lapped. And I like CJGJ. I love the face mask thing early in the season. I thought that could have been such a cool thing for the Lions fan base. Got shut down week 2.
It is. That's not all his fault.
I'm not saying that's all his fault, but I loved what he was bringing early. But then late, it became more of a, this is the storyline, not the team.
I feel you.
The contract deals came out for Jonathan Greenard. It's 4 years, $76 million. That includes $42 million guaranteed with the Vikings.
We also got breaking. Tony Pollard has been signed by the Titans. So
but 4 years, $76 million.
See, Jonathan Greenard is a perfect example of you can use spot track market value because at some point it's the only thing you have to go off of, but his market value was somewhere around like 12, 13 million a year. That's an AAV of 19. That's a lot of money, but to be fair, they need a pass rusher in the worst way, and Jonathan Greenard did have a hell of a season. He's going to help the Minnesota Vikings, but the question too is, who are they going to have on the other side? Because DJ Wanham's a free agent too. Go ahead,
Tony Pollard, 3 years, $24 million.
Damn.
Is the contract. So Tony Pollard is more expensive than
bye Derrick Henry.
The Titans.
Derrick Henry's gone. Yeah.
3 years,
We'll
$24
see.
million
We'll see
for
what
Tony
Pollard really is without that offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of saw it last year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he wasn't as good last year. I know he had 1,000 yards, but when he was the complimentary back, you saw how his like explosion and his pass catching ability helped that offense. Last year, he was just kind of a regular back. He did hit 1,000 yards. Credit to him. But
Derrick Henry to the Houston. This ain't breaking, but it's just a Derrick Henry to the Houston Texans.
Oh yeah, that's something that's been bantered about.
Yeah, I think that would be a great fit for him.
Derrick Henry anywhere is a great fit.
Well,
I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah,
I would love him here in Detroit. We don't need him.
You're right.
but man, having that dude.
Yeah.
The Titans are giving a former Cowboys running back a 3 year. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, Derrick Henry's another one that, in my opinion, he walks out of the NFL, retires, is a Hall of Famer during his first year of eligibility. Maybe not his first year, but Derrick Henry is one of my personal favorite players to watch. To watch, period, ever.
Right.
He's just so
That's
big.
Stiff arm, man. How do you not love that stiff arm?
Well, I loved him at Alabama too because he's a creative player.
He's a huge.
Yeah, he's a monster.
He's a Heisman Trophy winner, and then he comes to the Titans. Has a bit of a slow start to his career, which people don't remember. But once he gets it going, he's the best back in the league. At least running the football for about 4-5 years. So I like that. I like that a lot. Going back briefly to the CJ Chiche stuff, Art Vanderland. This is the type of stuff that really is going to make me blow a gasket. So was Jalen Ramsey a problem too? Jalen Ramsey's a first ballot Hall of Fame corner.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey's astronomically better than Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Stop. And my issue with CJ Gardner-Johnson, which I actually think that me and Wake Up Woodward kind of found a little bit of common ground, at least in the regular season and most certainly in that NFC Championship game. CJ Gardner-Johnson, not his fault, was the guy who did very little on the group project but got an A. There's a lot of people who give him a ton of credit for his locker room stuff and stuff like that. And my point is, when you're a player, you are never more valuable off the field than you are on it. Although you might have wanted to have him off it in the 49ers game, but that's another story for another
tell
day.
That to Udonis Haslam.
Udonis Haslam's useless. Udonis Haslam's useless. Useless.
I don't know about useless.
I don't know about that. But
Heat culture.
People will argue that his locker room impact.
Heat culture is overblown. I'm sorry. It's overblown.
Culture?
Heat culture. That whole moniker.
I don't know. They got it on the floor, man. It must be real.
Haven't won any titles in quite a few years. They made a couple finals appearances, but were outmanned in both of them. But they shouldn't have. It's not like they blew a couple finals. But the point is that they've never been a supremely talented team, at least since 2014 or something like that. But
I'm not mad at anybody that argues against CJ Gardner-Johnson. I just don't like the narrative that he was a cancer or anything.
I don't think he's
that.
a cancer. I just, I said, I just don't think that's what they're looking for. There's teams where you can be that flamboyant dude and talk that trash, and they'll embrace. Go to the Raiders. They love that shit.
I feel like we need some of that too. And he had a connection with AG.
And that's the thing. Where's that balance, right? Of talking trash but crossing the line of giving too much to the other team. That's where I'm back and forth on him. If they re-sign him once again, it's like I don't love it, but Brad Holmes knows that locker room better than I do. So he must be the type of guy they want.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying personally, he was the only guy that stood out, and he's kind of the only guy that stood out over the past 2 years of being a trash talker for the Lions. That may be because we started winning some damn games, and you're allowed to talk a little bit of trash, but also I feel like Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes are more like humble dudes to where they don't want that.
Yeah, I see where you're getting at.
No, and we can, and for the record, people are gonna think I'm lying. If CJ GJ is re-signed, I will root for him, but it's not my personal preference, and it doesn't sound like it's yours, Stick, either. But we're not Brad Holmes. It's not, Flannel Holmes. It's Brad Holmes.
And if they bring him back and they can contain that, Twitter fingers and stuff like that, and he can just focus on football, then I'll take that talent all day long. It's it's like Donald Trump. Like, okay, I don't mind what he did as president, but stay off Twitter, bro. Like you look like an idiot. You're making us all look like idiots.
Yeah. David Bakhtiari cut. I think he's leaving Green Bay. He just put out a thank you message.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that they could do. They've got a lot of guys under long contracts like Rashawn Gary and Jair Alexander and Aaron Jones. And Bakhtiari, you could save $21 million off the cap. And they've done a good job of replenishing their O-line through the draft. So and Bakhtiari can't play anymore. Was once great, but can't stay on the field. But you know where David Bakhtiari could go? Lady Jane's. He's got some locks. Although
he does.
I wouldn't do that if I were him. He looks good with long hair. But you know who else looks good with long hair according to his wife? This guy. But if I ever need to go get my haircut, I would go to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Go to any of the A+ stylists for an A+ haircut. There are locations all throughout Metro Detroit and all throughout the country as well. Open 7 days a week. You can walk in. You can make an appointment. I would recommend making an appointment. But if you want to walk in and wait for a minute, there is somebody who is going to do your hair upright, whether you're going on a date, whether you got to impress on a job interview, whatever you need. And you can also register for a chance to win all expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament. Michigan fans need not apply, but everyone else can. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in 7 days a week. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Brand new morning show here on the network and taking over Detroit, not only on the airwaves, but in the streets. You can catch them out this Sunday. They're going to be at LCA while they honor the Pistons. Kool-Aid, Flannel Sam, sometimes with sleeves, sometimes without. What's that?
Don't tell Troy Weaver he sucks.
Yeah, don't do that. You'll get thrown out. Broder is also a part of it, KG, JB, and it's just a lot of fun every morning, 8 to 10. So why don't you try something new if you haven't checked them out? Maybe you'll see Flannel Sam go on a rant. Maybe you'll see Kool-Aid smack him upside the head. You never know what's going to happen when you wake up with Woodward.
So, welcome back to Big D Energy. And I'm sure when I get back on Wake Up Woodward, we're going to have some fireworks on that show too. But as you all know, if they were here right now, I'd say it to them. If I were on the show today, I'd say it to them because we've all argued before.
You stand on business, Flannel.
I try my best. But anywho, KG.
Stand on bullshit.
Yeah. I wanted to talk to my boy Spinny real quick. I wanted you to give us, you're the resident fight guy.
Yes.
I wanted you to give us a little insight on 299, but we got to talk about Ngannou, man.
Yeah.
Got this shit rocked.
Ngannou got rocked. He got knocked out cold by Anthony Joshua. I think it was because Anthony Joshua isn't a defensive fighter, and so he got in there against him, and that was like you're facing real deal heavyweight contenders now. Like, this I know Tyson Fury kind of took him a little light, didn't think he was going to be what he was, and Francis has the power. So if you get tagged by him, you're going to feel it. So that's why I think he looked better against Francis. And then Joshua just treated him like he is a heavyweight championship contender and went out there and knocked his ass out. And UFC 299 was the best card of the year so far.
Nice.
By far.
Hey.
I mean, I know it's only March, but still.
Josh Parisian took a nasty knockout, too.
Yes, he did. No, Josh Parisian,
Josh.
veteran guy. Shout out Josh. He's a BDE veteran, but he went into the blender against a guy that's going to be – he's going to be changing some things around in the heavyweight division. But yeah, Sean O'Malley is the best striker in the UFC. He landed, I think, 186 significant strikes against Chito Vera, and it was just a clinical performance, completely outclassed Chito Vera, and just it was amazing. And Dustin Poirier, shout out Dustin Poirier, probably the most likable guy in the sport. Had a big knockout over a guy that is up and coming and trying to make some noise for himself. But Dustin the Diamond, first ballot Hall of Famer in the UFC, and I'm glad he got it done. He's one of my favorite fighters.
Yep, big facts.
You know, I should have known that when KG was going to talk to Spenny that it would be UFC. I mean,
it was either that or anime.
Yeah. Shout out to Josh Parisian, one of our favorite guests that we have from time to time on Big D Energy. Seems like such a great dude.
Yeah, tough day at the office.
Tough day at the office.
It was a tough fight, man.
You know what I think?
17 seconds.
I always think about fighters, like, you ever wake up and you have a stomach ache or a headache, and you're like, man, I don't want to go to work today.
Right.
But you got a fight scheduled, and you're like, fuck, man. Like, my stomach hurts. If I take one gut shot, I'm probably going to crap my pants. Like, those guys have to wake up on fight day feeling good. Otherwise, you can't back out. You can't postpone. You can't call in sick. Yeah, like, what a weird mental state you got to be in leading up to knowing when you're going to get in a fight. Because I'm pretty sure we've all been in fights here, right?
Yep.
None of them scheduled. Right. Like, none of them, like,
I'm going to fight you in September 26th.
I mean, back in grade school, I'll meet you at the swing set.
3:30 Memorial was the high school move. It was Memorial Park by Centerline.
Okay.
It was always 3:30 Memorial.
I guess, we would meet at Village Place in West Bloomfield, like Village Place parking lot, 5 o'clock tonight. Down. But it's still not the same because you knew that a lot of people were just going to show up and be shoving. It was never just like
and the other guy was in training for 3 months to fight you. So.
Right. Like, I can never, like, wrap my head around the mental of a fighter, like, the night before. Not even the fight day, but the night before, like, oh, man, what if they wake up not feeling well? What do you do?
Yeah.
You just go in there not feeling well and get your ass beat?
Yeah, pretty much.
What do you do?
It's a tough business, man.
Right. Oh, yeah, true men.
Yeah.
No, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm not as well versed on UFC as Spenny and KG, but that was a pretty tough draw for Josh Parisian.
Yes, that was it. It was kind of a hit piece by Dana. It was like, that is a guy, a phenom. He has finished every single professional fight he's been in under 30 seconds. This is a guy that's up and coming on the UFC in the heavyweight division. It was Josh's last fight on his contract. Kind of a hit piece, but that dude's gonna make some waves in the heavyweight division.
Who knew Taekwondo was so dangerous?
That shit is dangerous. 82-inch arms. That shit is crazy.
No, and shout out to Josh Parisian because
MVP looked really good too. Michael Venom Page. He's an older guy. You've probably seen his highlights on different fighting aspects. This is his first fight in the UFC, but he was the guy who knocked the dude out and then threw the Pokeball at him and put the Pokemon hat on. He's known for his flair, his antics, and an extremely, extremely tough fighting style to kind of go against. And Kevin Holland got the worst of it because he fights with his hands down about 3 feet away from the guy, jumps in really fast, closes the gap, throws some punches, and jumps back out before you can touch him. And Kevin Holland, who is probably the most active fighter in the UFC, and I think he had 5 wins in 2023, which is insane. To fight 5 times in a single year, but to win 5 times in a single year is insane. And he just MVP looked really good, and he's still 37, and that was his first fight in the UFC. And shout out my boy Gilbert, man. Speaking of 37 years old, Gilbert Burns, he was gonna win the fight, but he got knocked out in the last minute and a half. I love Gilbert, one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, but he's getting up there. It's not what he used to be.
I mean, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I'm glad it lived up to the billing from what you guys have said. It did.
It's an amazing card.
Awesome. Well, you know what else was amazing? Big D Energy today. Even if we were average D Energy, that is all right because fireworks happened, kumbaya happened, it all happened. Whether
Flannel Sam shaking over there happened.
That was hilarious.
Stick, you are a king mixer. But you know what? You know that, and you're great at what you do. You really are.
An antagonist.
He incites the people.
That is.
I ask the questions people want to know.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Like, why do you love LeBron James but hate Mike Tomlin? It makes no sense. They both fail at the biggest stage.
It makes perfect sense because Mike Tomlin has 1 Super Bowl, LeBron has 4 championships. But you know what? That is another discussion for another day, which I'm sure we will get back to. Hijack the Steve Eiserman conversation for a minute, but that is all right. For Flannel Sam, for Sam Sick Day, for Spenbo Rax, for KG, we will see you tomorrow on Big D Energy. I believe it is myself and Darren McCarty, so I'm sure we will go at it over the Red Wings as well. So stay tuned for that. We will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And while you're at it today, tune in to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz and the heavyweights from 5 to 7 p.m.
Anson filling in on Ermanni and Edwards today. Crowd favorite that people love to hate.
Oh, yeah, Anson.
Love to hate.
So, yes, I'm actually looking forward to that one with Anson. And as I've always said with the Woodward heavyweights, I don't know how much you're going to get into it today, but the best draft coverage on the network goes from those guys.
Facts.
So
Anson, Troy Weaver apologist, too, by the way.
How can that guy be? He's the biggest heckler the Pistons have ever had. He's going to apologize for it?
I'm sure he'll explain today, but me and him went back and forth this weekend on Troy Weaver, and he was trying to talk me off the ledge on it. I'm like, dude, it's done. Like, that was the beginning of the end. He's like, no, just wait.
Who would have known
There
this would be
should
such
not
a big
be-
topic of the discussion, man?
before we go, there should not be a single Troy bot in existence.
He's not a bot. Anson's smart. He knows what he's talking. He'll school you on some stats and stuff, too. You have to listen next.
No, Kool-Aid and Broder are also smart. They're also acting like Troy bots right now.
I wouldn't say that. That's a bit strong. They don't support the basketball, man. It's just the other stuff.
Bots.
Bots.
All right, we out-talked our leaving bed.
See you tomorrow.